So hey guys. Welcome back to my channel. This is part 3. What if Naruto was an elite Anbu captain and got harem with Anko? But before I start, you guys have to use 1000 Year of Death Jutsu on the like and subscribe button until they change their color. And hit the bell icon if you don't want to miss the next part. Do check out my playlist. Now, let's start the story. After Naruto finished explaining his eyes changed to Anko, she became relieved since it wasn't him, but the beast's doing. Little did she know that Naruto stopped using the QP's chakra for some time now. The real reason for Naruto's eyes to change like that was a simple mix between his killing intent and channeling his chakra through his eyes, creating such a fearsome look. However, Naruto was looking intently at Anko, and he was surprised to see that he scared her since 3 years ago the history was quite the opposite. Since Naruto only did missions with Kakashi and sometimes Neji, none of them ever noticed his eyes, however he couldn't know if they saw and decided against telling him about or not. The first time he saw his eyes change was after his return from failing the mission to retrieve Sasuke. He was found looking at the mirror that day cursing everyone and himself with the former being underestimated and the latter weakness from relying on the fox's power. On that day, Naruto was so angry that he managed to break the sink because of the pressure he was making against it. After he broke the sink, he turned to look at his reflection on the mirror, only to see a little beam of light appear on the corner of each eye and some pop veins, courtesy of the anger that was surrounding him at the moment. Since that day, Naruto at first vowed to show such eyes to everyone who underestimated him or downsized him, but now such eyes will only be directed towards his enemies and Konoha's as well. Seeing as how Anko was resting her head on his chest, Naruto smiled at the thought of a supposedly dangerous and unstable woman to appear so peaceful like that. He remembered his confrontation with her at the last Chunin exams when she licked his blood and wondered if such a thing was merely an act on her part. Being practically a master in hiding true emotions, Naruto could very well look at the person's eyes and find the person's emotional secret. The truth was that Naruto and Anko did in fact have similar and agonizing pasts because of two fearsome entities. Because of Orochimaru, Anko was treated like hell from both villagers and shinobi, up to a point where she decided to embrace a snake-like personality in order to keep those who wish her harm away. Naruto wasn't different, although 10 times worse than Anko's. Because of the fox's rampage in Konoha 15 years ago, Naruto was and still is treated like the 9-tailed foxes incarnate. Because of this, some people treated him with apathy, not even bothering to recognize that he was nothing but a child back then, while others did nothing to hold their anger towards what the fox did for them and constantly beat Naruto to the ground. Anko and Naruto already had such bond between them. The bond of suffering and the bond of overcoming obstacles in life, much to a point that even if they didn't ended up together. Upon looking at her face, Naruto wondered if the pain and suffering brought the two of them together. Surely wasn't the looks or his supposedly lack of experience that attracted her to him. Naruto never was one to worry about his looks or the fact that he might be attractive to the opposite gender, since for one he didn't have the need for such a thing, and second since he long ago embraced the fact that no one of sane conscience would date a demon, even though he knew he wasn't one. After some time cuddling, Naruto sensed Anko awakening and smiled upon seeing her stretching like she just had the best sleep of her life. Anko for her part was dreaming about Naruto living with her and cuddling with her on her bed. After turning her head only to see a smiling Naruto, she felt warmth inside her chest, knowing that she found the one she was looking for. Someone who could see through her disguise, someone who had similar past and the most important for her, he was bloody handsome and a well-toned body. She was even happier when she heard such kind words from him. Had a good night's sleep, Anko Heim. Anko right now was feeling lighter and she could only smile and nod, giving an affirmative response to his answer and seeing his broad and genuine smile, simply flooding her chest with warmth of honest and sincere feelings. Yes, I did. I really enjoyed it. Said Anko, though she wished they were either on her beat or his, so she could remain like before and don't need to worry about being spied on. Little did she know about the Hokage's crystal ball. At Tsunade's office. After witnessing the love-making, Tsunade and Shizune were delighted to see the new couple lying down peacefully. Shizune smiled saying that they found each other and they appeared to be made for each other, receiving an affirmative nod from the blonde Hokage. You're quite right, Shizune, although I first wished that Naruto found someone his age, he and Anko indeed are a perfect match. Said Tsunade, never letting her eyes leave the beautiful sight that was her surrogate family actually smiling again. At the training ground. Now that Anko and Naruto got up, Anko said that she had to go to Ibiki for filing some reports regarding some missing nins. Not one to hold her, Naruto smiled saying that he as well needed to head for the library for some Doton research, saying that he wanted to create a new Doton technique, instantly getting Anko's curiosity since Doton was one of her favorite ninjutsus. Upon asking what it was, she scowled when Naruto said that it was a secret and that he didn't want to spoil the surprise. Seeing Anko slightly mad, he turned to kiss her cheek and whispered that she will be the first to see the Doton ninjutsu, earning a slight blush on her face from the kiss and an excited smile from learning another jutsu. After that, they said their goodbyes and Naruto promised her on a date later on. Now after Anko jumped towards the interrogation chamber, Naruto went towards the library one more time to return the scroll with the Doton Dachu Uijo no Jutsu, Earth style underground fish projection jutsu, as well as look into some Doton theory for his new jutsu. Since being a born prankster, Naruto realized he could create elaborate traps manipulating the earth, and such a technique if he managed to create, it would be a great attack against large and gathered crowds of enemies. Upon walking towards the library, Naruto realized something was amiss. He was getting the feeling that he was being watched, but whoever was following him seemed to be doing a lousy job at it, since he could very well hear footsteps and some fast breathing like if the person was afraid or something. Upon turning to take a look at his surroundings, he noticed near a wooden face that someone was hiding there. Wanting nothing of it from lack of killing intent towards him, he continued his path towards the library. Little did he know that one Hyuga Hinata was the one who was following him, just like before he left to train with Jiraiya. Hinata for her part heard rumors about Naruto's sudden growth, being promoted to Chunin, and doing high-leveled missions with his sensei Hada Kakashi. Hinata was remembering a conversation she had with her sensei and mother figure Yohi Kurenai. Flashback on. Both of them were returning from a mission that was near Kusa territory. They were supposed to scout for the area so they could find a Konoha missing nin named Tamashiro Raiko. Such man tried to steal Konoha's Kenjutsu scroll just like Mizuki tried, but was stopped by an Anbu that was patrolling the region. The scroll was retrieved, but the Tamashiro managed to escape and was labeled a B-ranked missing nin, since he was a Takubetsu Jounin. After finding him near a village close to Kusa border, Kurenai sent the message to a hunter nin that was close, just wanting the call to eliminate the missing nin. Now, they were returning to the village and the two girls started talking. "So Hinata, tell me something. Do you have an interest in someone back at Konoha?" asked Kurenai, receiving a red tomato blush from the Hyuga mistress. "Oh no, why are you asking that, Kurenai-sensei?" asked Hinata, afraid from being too obvious about her crush on Naruto. "I don't know. I never saw you with anyone other than Sakura, Ino and Tenten, and also you never told me anything about it," said Kurenai, hoping that the girl got rid of her supposed crush on Naruto. Kurenai knew about Hinata's crush inside, knowing that what she felt for Naruto was pure respect and nothing else. Also, Kurenai was hoping that the news of Naruto and Anko being together wouldn't be too much of a blow to her. Well, if I had to say a name, I would say Naruto-kun, but said Hinata, before seeing her sensei looking down for some unknown reason. "Hinata, first of all I don't think that your respect for him can be cited as being a crush of yours. Also I didn't want to tell you this, but Naruto is already seeing someone," said Kurenai, dropping the nuclear bomb towards Hinata. Flashback off. When she heard Kurenai saying that Naruto was seeing someone, Hinata fainted in an instant back then. Now, she continued to stalk him, but she was remembering Kurenai's words about her respect for Naruto not being considered a crush and sighed worried about the way she acted when close to him. Forgetting about Naruto for a moment, Hinata started looking down, wondering about how she acted around her other male peers. Kiba and Shino were always kind and a little overprotective of her, but for Hinata, both of them were like brother figures. Instantly, forgetting about Naruto, Hinata went back home. At the library. Naruto had just arrived at the library and turned to talk to the librarian. After he returned the last scroll, he asked for assistance regarding Doton theory scrolls and some books regarding jutsu making. After the delightful request by the blonde, the librarian appreciated that the blonde requested so much of her, and she started to work. In less than 30 minutes, the librarian managed to set a whole table with theory on Doton ninjutsu and jutsu, making for Naruto to start his study. Showing his appreciation towards the librarian, Naruto started looking about the Doton theories. He was reading about earth manipulation and how to make deep and wide holes on the ground and how to make earth spikes. Naruto grinned seeing that Naruto's new technique revolved around a mix between pure earth manipulation and a Doton ninjutsu called Doton Ganchuisu no Jutsu, earth style. Earth spikes jutsu. Next, Naruto went to jutsu making books. He was reading about how new and enhanced jutsus improved the village's reputation among the elemental countries. Naruto came upon a page that told about Yondame's techniques and his large contribution to Konoha's legacy, especially during the Third Shinobi War. While reading, Naruto came upon Yondame's techniques called Rasengan and Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flight of the Thunder God technique. While Rasengan was tough to learn, I bet the Hiraishin is by far the most difficult technique one could ever hope to learn. That excuse of a Sannin told me that the Yondame created the Hiraishin through an extended use of seals and his Raiten affinity, hence the name Thunder God. Although Naruto wanted to learn more about the fourth Hokage and his achievements, Naruto wanted to create his new Doton Jutsu. So, Naruto went to retrieve a blank scroll and started to write how the technique would work and what did it entail. Next, he became to think about a name to the technique. Since the technique entailed a deep and spiked pit, Naruto thought he could as well name it like that, Doten Seppuku Uchi no Jutsu, Earth Style. Spiked Pit Jutsu. After scribing the theory needed for such a technique on the blank scroll, Naruto thanked the librarian once again for helping him and left towards his house. Since the moon was starting to show, Naruto figured he could very well see if Anko was available for dinner tonight. He went home in order to have a little shower and put on light clothes, being dark cargo pants and graffiti shirt. After that, he went straight towards Anko's apartment. Naruto learned that she lived close to him and that if he were to look to the left from his apartment, he could see her apartment. At Anko's apartment. Having a tough day at the torture department, Anko arrived home, not wishing to do anything other than relax at home and then sleep. Right now, she was wearing her trench coat and her fishnet clothes, heading towards the shower in order to drench the blood feeling out of her. Having to torture Iwa missing Nin to death, Anko still felt the blood pouring out of her hands, even though such liquid wasn't there anymore. As she was about to take off the trench coat, she stopped upon hearing a knock on the door. Grumping, since she didn't want to do anything and even worse if was a messenger Nin from Sunday sending her for a mission, she opened the door with her eyes closed, mumbling about not wanted to be disturbed, only to hear the only voice that for some reason, did calm her. Sorry to disturb Harem, I just thought of seeing you tonight, even if you don't want to do anything, tonight. Said Naruto upon seeing Anko opening her eyes and smiling at him. It's sure nice to see you Foxy. Just had a though day down there with a bicky. It'd be nice if we order some food for us wouldn't it? Whispered Anko to which Naruto smiled, since this was his surprise for her. That's a great idea. And I've already made preparations for our indoor dinner. My cage Bunshin should arrive any minute now if our dinner, here he is. Said Naruto as his clone arrived with their dinner and then vanished before waving goodbye to the snake mistress, since he was after all a clone of Naruto. You're full of surprises, aren't you Gaki? Said Anko to which Naruto smiled and ushered her inside so as to relax while he set their dinner. So tell me Anko, what happened today? When you answered the door, I sensed some negative emotions from you. Asked Naruto, fixing the dango at the table near the couch where Anko was sitting and relaxing. Just some torture that went wrong, and the guy ended up being killed before even giving our needed information. I ended up killing him and his blood drenched all over me. Said Anko, sighing once again remembering the whole interrogation process. Sorry about that, come eat some dango and I'll tell you about my new jutsu. Said Naruto, before seeing Anko snapping out of her thoughts and started bombarding him on questions about it. Easy Harem, I'll tell you about it. Smiled Naruto learning about one of the woman's passions apart from dango and torture. It's a B-rank jutsu that I named Doten Seppuku Uchi no Jutsu, Earth Style. Spike Pit Jutsu, and as the name said, I create a hole on the ground with iron spikes on the bottle of it. As Naruto was giving a description about his jutsu, Anko was listening intently to the lecture that Naruto was giving her. Anko, as she listened to Naruto, was wondering how the hell he learned that much about Doten ninjutsu and how he came up with such idea. She remembered about his prankster side back when he was younger and some of her peers back at Anbu when trying to get him after his pranksters. The sight of a spiked pit against a group of enemies at the same time was one hell of a good jutsu. Once you are able to do it, you have to teach me, Foxy. I'd like to say I had a part on the creation of such technique after Sunday enrolled on Konoha's jutsu arsenal. Said Anko, smiling while forgetting everything about what occurred at the torture and interrogation division. After some time chatting about life in general, Anko told Naruto about having a shower until he arrived and she saw which looked like a devious smile. Then without saying anything, Naruto walked straight to Anko and surprised her with a passionate kiss, together with his hands caressing her face. Anko at first was taken aback by the surprise, but it didn't take long until she complied and returned the kiss while hugging Naruto. After breaking the kiss, Naruto turned to whisper softly on her ears, making her shiver up inside. About that shower of yours, you wouldn't mind if I joined you, right? Asked Naruto, making Anko melt at thinking of what he was suggesting, but not wanting to lose the teasing contest. Anlo suppressed the nosebleed as best as she could and turned to whisper to him. I was hoping you joined me, Naruto-kun. I want to pass my hand all over your wet body. Said Anko to which Naruto smiled before start taking his shirt off and kiss her again with passion. At the shower. Naruto and Anko entered and immediately the making out started. With a sponge, Naruto started massaging Anko's body as well as cleaning all the blood. Meanwhile, Naruto was licking Anko's neck, making her sound delighted. Anko was trembling with excitement and while doing such a stressing and strenuous task, Anko was in need of Naruto's company tonight. Now out of her mind, Anko just let Naruto please her with his tongue and hands passing gently all over her body, making her body relax and let her hormones take over. After some teasing on both part, Naruto embraced Anko from behind, putting it in slowly, sending waves of pleasure to Anko until he reached the end of her walls, making her hormones explode like a grand fireball jutsu inside her. Naruto and Anko went on for half an hour before both of them couldn't hold anymore. After a birth control jutsu, Naruto and Anko both came at the same time and both of them just loved the moment. After that, Anko invited Naruto to sleep over. Needless to say, he gladly accepted. The next day. Since Anko had the next day off since the whole torture fiasco, she decided to help her lover with his new technique and hopefully get to learn as well. Both got up after a dream sleep and went to Naruto's place in order to grab his chunin vest and clothes before head to a training ground nearby. Now if people were to see Anko, they would find particularly strange that she was showing a different smile on her face. Such smile showed happiness, she was at ease again. It was like before she met the snake Sannin, and such a sight was completely lost if it weren't for the blonde chunin and the fact that he gave to Anko what she wanted the most, love. Anko, deep down inside, always wanted a man to hold her, to love her. Naruto managed what not even the Sandaime could, and that was saying a lot since the third Hokage was the only family Anko had. Kurenai, even though her friend couldn't approach her heart like Naruto did, and with that Anko was extremely pleased with finding a guy like Naruto. Naruto for his part was having the same thoughts about finding someone like Anko. Since their mission together, he felt attracted to her in a way that he never felt before. Naruto wondered if he could describe such a feeling about her, but for some unknown reason, he couldn't. He just kept thinking about her, and he couldn't explain why. As they started jumping towards the training ground, he turned to look at her smile and immediately felt at ease with himself. It was like his world revolved all around her smile. It amazes me that this Anko was the same as the one of my first chunin exams, but then again that wasn't the real Anko. No, this is the real she. As both of them arrived at the training ground, they were surprised to see some of the Rookie 9 and Team Guy. Shikamaru, Neji, Tenten, Ino, Chaoji and Lee were hanging with each other since all of them were without missions at the moment and apart from Naruto, they don't train on their day off. As Ino turned, she witnessed Naruto arrive with what appeared to be the proctor of their first chunin exams and found it quite strange to say the least. She remembered Sakura saying that Naruto changed, but she didn't get to see much except his fight at the chunin exams and Shikamaru saying a thing or two about his abilities. Guys, why is Naruto with that Anko lady? Asked Ino, gathering everyone's attention towards the new couple. Shikamaru and Neji were the least surprised of the group, knowing already from their old senseis how much Anko cheered for him and Kakashi later telling Guy and Asuma about the new couple, but Ino and Tenten's case were quite different. How dare Naruto do such a thing? What about Hinata and Sakura? Asked Ino, receiving nod from Tenten who was thinking among the same line. Demanding an explanation, Ino went close to the new couple, but even before Ino got to open her mouth, Naruto greeted her without even looking at her. Hello Ino, how are you doing? Asked Naruto, gaining Anko and Ino's attention, since both of them were surprised that Naruto knew about Ino behind him. Naruto, how did you know it was me? Asked Ino, forgetting what she was about to do. Well, you wouldn't believe if I sensed your chakra signature. So, I'll say that I sensed someone pissed for some reason, so I immediately knew it was you. Said Naruto grinning deviously at making such a remark, making Anko and Shikamaru laugh at it. Ino for her part was quite angry not only because of Naruto's commentary, but also Shikamaru's laughter, but since Naruto started the whole thing, Ino instantly charged for the Shintention no Jutsu only for Naruto to make a cage bunshin and Ino enter the clone's body. Ino, I'm quite uncomfortable when people decide that they can do whatever they want with me, and here comes you wanting to take over my body. Now, since you're trapped inside my cage bunshin, I can do whatever I want with you. Said Naruto, smiling while looking towards Anko who also smirked as well, since she got to tease Ino a little bit. You never cease to amaze me, Foxy. Okay Ino-chan, let's get the teasing on the road, shall we? Said Anko, licking her lips and proceed to make a move on Ino and Naruto's body. Ino for her part was receiving images of Naruto's memories about him and Anko and was blushing madly while on Naruto's body. She was seeing it all. The teasing was too much for her and she focused all of her chakra to get out of Naruto's clone, only managing to get out using most of her chakra before going back to her body. I hope you learned your lesson Ino-san said Naruto, ushering Anko to leave and proceed with the technique. Shikamaru and Neji were applauding Naruto's strategy about how to deal with Ino and Shikamaru was taking notes on how to learn the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Lee was screaming things about Naruto's fire of youth and how Anko got to see that as well, much to Tenten's dismay, since she was against relationships such as the one that Naruto and Anko seemed to be having. At another training ground. Anko was laughing the entire way on to another training ground. Never before she thought of do such a thing with a Yamanaka, and only a prankster like Naruto could pull this off. Naruto for his part was enjoying immensely. The reason was because he just found his prankster partner and he was imagining already doing other pranks on people they knew. But since they were here to invent a new Doton jutsu, Naruto turned serious and reached for his blank scroll. First of all, he needed to see the chakra needed to create the ground. Not wanting to lose precious time, Naruto did the necessary hand seals and slammed his hands on the ground, making a 10-foot deep hole and 5 feet wide. Thinking about how much chakra he wasted doing that, which wasn't much seeing that his chakra capacity was enormous. On his next attempt, he doubled the size of the hole and smirked seeing that the size was perfect. Picking his scroll, he wrote the chakra needed for create the hole and the hand seals needed. Next part was the spikes creation and filing the hole with it. Anko for her part was resting near a tree, studying the jutsu's creation with interest. Naruto was taking each step with care, just like he learned on the book, and Anko was feeling strange, seeing what once was the dead last of his class, creating an elemental jutsu, which by the way wasn't even one of his affinities. Regarding the spikes, Naruto did the jutsu to create the spikes, and with the chakra that he used, he was able to create 10 spikes that came out of the ground. Calculating that the hole with 20 feet wide needed to contain at least 50 spikes on the ground, Naruto raised the chakra needed to create such a number and the hand seals for such. After writing such information, Naruto now turned to create his new technique. Naruto figured that if he mixed the hand seals between both techniques and using the chakra needed for both at the same time, he could create the spiked pit. On his first attempt, Naruto managed to make a 5 feet hole with a couple of spikes on the ground. Now after seeing the first try, Naruto started to analyze it. On the first attempt, Naruto used just the necessary chakra to create the hole and some spikes. Now he needed to use just more chakra since he managed to make 2 techniques together. Anko was amazed at such a display. She only saw such ability with Iwa Shinobis and Naruto managed to do such a thing. Back to Naruto, he was already doing the hand seals and slammed his hands on the ground. What happened after got Anko's jaw fall to the ground and Naruto to smile in triumph. Near Naruto was a 20 feet wide hole filled with iron spikes at the bottom, creating one hell of a trap. Yes, I did it, my own jutsu, screamed Naruto, receiving compliments from Anko, as well as pleading him to teach her. I'll teach you, Anko Harem, but first I need to conclude the theory here, said Naruto before scribing the last paragraphs. After that, Naruto turned to teach to his lover the jutsu who got it mastered on her 5th try, since Anko found the jutsu extremely chakra consuming. Foxy, this jutsu drained a lot of chakra. I doubt Tsunade would label it as a B-ranked one. I'll bet she is rising up to A-ranked, said Anko, though she was proud of seeing that it was Naruto who invented it. Well, I did think originally would be an A-rank technique, but I wasn't sure if Konoha's standards these days, but is up to Tsunade though. As Naruto and Anko were talking, Anko learned that although Naruto liked Futon and Suiton jutsus, Doton was a good one as well. Naruto also told her that while in order to upgrade to Jounin, the ninja must have control over at least 2 affinities, having knowledge of 3 would be beneficial when he entered Anbu. A moment later, Tonari arrived greeting Naruto as well as saying that the Hokage needed to talk to both him and Anko. Naruto, after thanking Tonari, went with Anko towards the Hokage's office, wondering if both of them would be on another mission together. Anko was thinking along those lines as well and was quite hoping for it. At Tsunade's office. Inside Tsunade's office, a team of Anbu was waiting there for their next mission. Tsunade was having second thoughts about what she intended to do. Tenzu, codename Yamato, was there asking the Hokage if this was a good idea. They were heading for an S-ranked mission towards Fire Country's border with Earth Country, where they would encounter an S-ranked missing nin by the name of Kaido Aoi, I was Diamond Fang. The man was considered missing nin after a failed attempt of murdering the Tsuchikage. Rumors said that the Tsuchikage ordered Iwa Anbus to kill his family since he didn't want to comply with his orders. The mission was to either retrieve him to Konoha's cause or at least convince him not to set foot near the Fire Country. Said man was considered relatively unstable since the murder of his family and with his power, just his presence was enough to scare those who knew who he was. Therefore Tenzu's team was the one selected to confront him if necessary. Being one of the best teams in full combat skills, this team would as well receive a backup. Someone who had the chakra capacity of a Kage and with enough skills on ninjutsu in order to face the enemy, but both Tenzu and Tsunade weren't sure if Naruto had the experience for such a foe. As he entered the office together with Anko, Naruto managed to see a team of Anbu together with Tsunade, which he could only conclude that was about his request some time ago. Tsunade-sama, how can we be of service, and if you don't mind me asking, why Yamato is here as well? Asked Naruto, earning looks of surprises from the Anbu team, Tsunade and Anko. Yamato wasn't, since he long ago figured out Naruto's ability of feeling chakra signatures. One of these days, I'll inquire you as to how the hell did you know that Yamato was one of the Anbus present, Naruto. But that comes for later. Now, I want you to give me a straight answer here, okay? This Anbu team is heading out to face an S-ranked Iwa missing nin called Kaido Aoi, aka Iwa's ex-Diamond Fang. Since this team focused more on close combat varying from Kinjutsu and Taijutsu, they requested an ninjutsu specialist to assist them on long-range attacks. Yamato and I considered a lot of possibilities and your name appeared on this list. Since you have experience in 3 elements, you'd be perfect for the job, but you can back off if you feel you're not ready yet," said Tsunade, though a part of her wished he would back off since he didn't have the experience needed for such a mission, but another part of her wished to see him in action. Naruto for his part was stunned and surprised to say the least. Naruto was never fond of history, but anyone would know that no chunin ever got any missions higher than B. A-ranked missions were the exception, and that was only given when the village was lacking of jounins and Anbus to do it. Now here it is a chunin been given an S-ranked mission. Naruto turned to study the Hokage's face, since everyone else was either wearing masks or not having a clue on what was happening. Tsunade was serious about it, he could tell. Naruto now turned to think of his abilities and if he would be able to face such a difficult mission. Along the way, Naruto was thinking about the level of his enemies and truth be told, Sasuke was at least A-ranked level, with Orochimaru and Akatsuki being S-ranked, therefore if he couldn't face this Aoi character, what choices would he have against Orochimaru, Sasuke and Akatsuki? Tsunade-sama, even though I know that such a mission would require, I feel that I would like to test my abilities against such an opponent. Since he is S-ranked, if I can't at least pair with him, then I don't have what it takes to protect myself if I were to face Akatsuki or Sasuke in the future. Therefore, I accept this mission, said Naruto, earning looks of pride from Anko, Tenzu and the rest of the Anbus present and fear from the Hokage. Okay, Naruto. Since you'll be heading with a team of Anbus, you'll need to be dressed like one. For this mission, your codename will be Shipyu, Hurricane. You'll be receiving an animal mask as well. Since you already have a sword, you don't have to switch. Normally, Anbu uses ninjato for mobility, but since you already are proficient with your katana, you won't need. Now, which animal would you like? Asked Tsunade, to which Naruto turned to think about it. Naruto never took himself to think of any animal in his life. He was always busy trying to stay alive and training. But one particular animal did come to mind, and from inside, he smiled after hearing the damn monster inside his body laugh at his choice. Tsunade-sama, I would like a fox mask if I may, said Naruto, only expecting everyone's eyes go wide and some jaws go down, and began his explanation. Whether I want it or not, the damn kitsune is a part of my life, and I choose to embrace the fact that we are together as one. I'm not saying that I will use his chakra, I'm only saying that I don't care anymore about being a Jinchuriki, said Naruto, before waiting everyone return their eyes and jaws to normal and start seeing eyes of sadness, which pissed him off to no end. With all due respect to all people here in this office, if you look at me with such eyes again, I'll literally beat the crap of all of you, said Naruto, now licking some killing intent in order to prove his point. Tsunade for her part remembered Kakashi back then and mentally punched her head for doing so. On behalf of the Hokage, we apologize, Naruto. It was quite a surprise to hear that from you, Naruto, but since you are indeed stronger now, said Tsunade, rising everyone from their pity towards him. You're not the only one surprised, Hokage-sama. Although the damn fox instead is laughing like a maniac right now, it's really annoying though if you ask me, said Naruto, to which Tsunade flinched, remembering Naruto saying that he communicated with the QB. But Tenzu and his team as well as Anko were surprised and a little scared of the fact that Naruto talked to the demon. Okay, Naruto, you and Team Yamato are to leave in 2 hours. Take these clothes and the mask will be with Yamato once you arrive, good luck to you all. At Naruto's apartment. After leaving Hokage's office, Naruto arrived at his apartment alone since Anko stayed behind for a debriefing on her mission as well. It appeared that some strange occurrences were happening near Wave Country and Anko was sent to investigate. Since Kiri is trapped in a civil war, the Wave Daimyo requested Konoha for assistance since he got high recommendations from the bridge builder Tazuna about a certain blonde chunin. Before leaving, Tsunade thanked Naruto for getting Konoha a new client and then dismissed him once again for him to dress up and go to the gates. After he got dressed, Naruto went out of his apartment but not before taking a look on his new appearance. Longing to become a member of Anbu, Naruto smiled in approval of the outfit as well as imagining the kitsune mask. Also, he was wondering about his codename. Obviously it was because of his natural ability with Futon chakra, but he couldn't help but smile from such a cool codename. As he jumped towards the rendezvous point, his chakra senses spotted Kakashi heading there as well as Anko. Naruto figured that his sensei would have got the news of his mission and Anko just wanted to see him leave. At the rendezvous point. Upon arrival, Naruto came in contact with Yamato and his team since being an Anbu means they have to be ready at any time. After Naruto, arrived Kakashi and Anko as well. Kakashi for his part was looking at Naruto with pride in his eyes. He knew that Naruto wasn't instated in Anbu yet, but to see him with a uniform certainly spoke high of himself. Kakashi always worried that since he couldn't train Naruto, the blonde would become stagnant within his abilities and would not grow. But seeing his development after returning from his trip with Jiraiya, Kakashi could only wonder what will be of Naruto's future as shinobi. Anko for her part was practically drooling at the visage of her lover being a part of Anbu. Since the uniform didn't cover the arms, Anko got to see Naruto's ripped muscles and her hormones were beginning to take over. Unfortunately, since both of them would go to different missions, Anko dismissed the thoughts for now, but promised to relieve the tension on her first day traveling to Wave Country. Yamato gave the kitsune mask to Naruto, and he put it on, showing a different aspect of Naruto that no one saw before. Now with his mask, you couldn't tell that he was only 16, you couldn't tell that he was just a chunin. Kakashi smiled at the appearance, and Anko drooled even more if such a thing was possible. Now, she couldn't handle herself anymore. She had to do something. "Naruto, could you come here for a second? I want to talk with you in private," said Anko, receiving a nod from the blonde, who proceeded together with her to a rooftop nearby. "Foxy, take off your mask please," whispered Anko, now not sure if the pressure could be released with just what she was thinking about doing it. Naruto complied, not sure what Anko wanted, but complied. "Okay, Harem, what do you?" said Naruto, before receiving one of the most passionate kiss from Anko. Anko for her part was kissing him madly with her hands, feeling his armor and arms with intensity, getting instant transmission on naughty images from before. Naruto now was returning the kiss, knowing what Anko was doing. After a whole minute, both of them broke the kiss, eagerly wanting to go home and start with the lovemaking, but since both of them had missions, the naughty would have to wait. Meanwhile, Kakashi was chatting with Yamato about what Anko wanted to talk to Naruto. Since both of them knew about the little affair, while Yamato thought that Anko was worried about him, Kakashi knew what was going on, seeing that Anko was caught drooling for Naruto before. After they returned, Naruto and the Anbu team went forward their mission after waving for Kakashi and Anko. Aoi was spotted just entering Fire Country's border, and the team had to keep a steady pace in order to reach their destination tomorrow morning. Their schedule was to arrive at the town closest to the border and rest for the morning. Then, they would engage the enemy. Naruto was from behind the squad, observing the team's abilities and the way Anbu travel through the trees. He was able to see that because of such a formation, the squad was able to cover each other. If an enemy were to attack one of them, the other two would jump and assist before the enemy could process what was going on. Naruto came to know that Anbu often favored physical skills over ninjutsu and jinjutsu, so he vowed also to train himself more in kinjutsu from Rikamaru. After traveling for nearly 5 hours, the Anbu team was surprised to see that Naruto wasn't even tired, but Yamato told them that he was a stamina freak, so they dismissed the thoughts. "Okay, team, we'll have 4 hours to rest. We'll rotate for scout. Each member will keep watch for 1 hour, therefore, everyone get 3 hours to sleep. Shipyu, come here for a second, I want to talk to you," said Yamato before ushering the first Anbu to take watch. "What is it, Yamato Taichu?" "Shipyu, you're assigned for this mission not only to assist us with long-range attacks, but for another reason. Tsunade-sama also believes that you can convince him to join our forces, seeing that she thinks you have a way of changing people. But be ready for anything, we don't know if he can become hostile," said Yamato, to which Naruto was damn pissed, but chose not to let Yamato know. "Understood, I take from my role in this that I am to engage the conversation with him?" asked Naruto, to which Yamato got to do the thinking pose. He wasn't sure if the guy would respect Naruto long enough to bother hearing him. No, the guy is an S-rank missing nin, a guy of his level can determine the strength of the opponent just from his behavior and voice expression. "Don't worry, I'll engage conversation with him. You are to back me up," said Yamato, receiving a nod from Naruto, who after that proceeded to rest, since he would take the last watch. On the next day, Aoi was traveling with a black cape and black kimono. He entered Fire Country just to escape some Iowa hunter nins, since they wouldn't have the authority to attack him. The truth is, he was damn tired of Iowa. Since he was charged for the Chuchikage's assassination, he didn't have other alternatives, so he escaped. Already on his 40s, the man wanted to rest. Being a part of Iowa Anbu for 25 years now, he was aging faster than normal. Since the loss of his family, the guy nearly snapped once. Since then, he wasn't the same anymore, and therefore he needed to go somewhere where no one would attack him. Little did he know that a team of Konoha's Anbu would be arriving shortly. Aoi was wondering about Fire Country's beauty and if he could somewhat find a place for him to stay far away from everyone. Suddenly, he caught 4 people moving with speed peculiar to Anbu forces and wondered if the damned Tsuchikage ordered such a mission. Something is amiss here. They are certainly Anbu-level shinobi, but their chakra signature is different, they are not from Iowa. Konoha found me and I cannot escape, I have to face them. As the team arrived, Aoi made Aiwa's hardening body jutsu and got ready for an assault. When he saw that Konoha's Anbu, even though ready for battle, wasn't focused on attacking, he became suspicious about it. What do they want with me? If they didn't came here to attack me, what else? Ido Aoi, I was Diamond Fang. We are here to offer you Konoha citizenship. We are aware of your status as I was missing nins, and therefore you know that they won't leave you be. If you join Konoha, I have explicit orders from Lady Tsunade to escort you back to Konoha and offer you a place to stay. Said Yamato, using Tsunade's name since Aoi met Tsunade in the past. Aoi for his part was dumbfounded. Konoha wanting him to pledge alliance with me and Tsunade, the nerve of that woman, she owes me high for losing in poker. I should just go there and collect her debt. Hahaha, that old hag is just getting rid of her debt to me by offering such a thing. Pathetic of her, don't you think, Anbu-san? Tell her that I refuse her offer and tell her that I didn't forget her debt to me. Said Aoi before leaving, only to hear one of the Anbus laughing like a maniac. When he turned to see the one with a kitsune mask, holding his stomach from laughing so hard, he was curious to say the least. Just his presence got people to pee in their pants, but this person is laughing. Maybe he snapped from being scared of me. Aoi was wondering and decided to ask the guy. Why are you laughing, kid? Asked Aoi while demonstrating killing intent, making all Anbu present reach of their swords in case the man attacked. Yamato for his part wanted to pound Naruto to the ground for mocking an S-ranked missing nin. Oh, nothing Aoi-san, it's just that is so typical of Tsunade Bachan to do such a thing. I mean she always escaped from people she owed. I just never thought she would do that to you as well. Said Naruto before seeing the Iwa missing nin barely holding himself from laughing like a maniac as well. Haha, I like you, kid, tell me what's your name? Asked Aoi, making everyone's jaws fall to the ground by the sight of an S-ranked missing nin enjoying talking badly about their Hokage's bad gambling habits together with the blonde. Sorry Aoi-san, but my identity for now is hidden, you must know, since you're an Anbu yourself, right? Said Naruto, earning a nod from the Iwa missing nin in recognition of his time in Anbu. I know that, kid, okay. Answer me something, said Aoi, to which the Anbu team flinched, knowing that if the answer wasn't satisfying, they would have to fight. If you were to evaluate your abilities right now, in which level you think you are? Asked Aoi, surprising Naruto who wasn't expecting such a question, but answer nonetheless. I would say high chunin, low level jounin level. But I'm not sure, why do you ask, Aoi-san? Said Naruto, to which Yamato got prepared in case Naruto was attacked first. For his part, he also considered Naruto to be in such a level, and he knew that the Iwa missing nin could attack him first. Huh, quite modest aren't you, kid? Humility, it's good when you're training, but confidence is vital against an enemy. Don't ever forget that, said Aoi before turning his back to Naruto. Naruto for his part wasn't slowing his guard because of this. He was feeling a slight raise in the guy's chakra, and quite frankly, he was kind of apprehensive about such a fight, but he needed to see where he stood against enemies of such a level. Studying his opponent, Naruto's hand reached for his katana in advance, seeing that the man had an ninjato, and such a sword was quicker and deadlier in close-range combat. Aoi for his part was actually considering the invitation, even if he were just to collect his debt, but he wanted a fight to gauge these ninjas' ability. Already choosing his opponent, Aoi moved himself in speed that rivaled Rock Lee, and with his ninjato now in his hands, he attacked Naruto only to stop on his tracks by a katana with double of his sword's size and strength, making the ninjato trembles upon impact. Being on a standstill, Naruto was smiling behind his mask from managing to block such an attack, but humility was his characteristic and he needed to be focused. Yamato Taichu, I want to fight him alone, if I may. Said Naruto, getting nods from his peers. Smirking at the quick maneuver from the kid, Aoi jumped back while doing hand seals and saying, Dotondoryuta no Jutsu, Earth style. Earth Dragon Projectile Jutsu, making a mud dragon shoot mud projectiles with speed still unfamiliar to Naruto, who knew he couldn't dodge in time. Resorting to defensive, Naruto jumped through the necessary hand seals saying, Futon Shiheki no Jutsu, Wind style. Wind Barrier Jutsu. But that, Naruto created two typhoons in front of him, eliminating the mud projectiles, earning a nod from the Iwa missing nin, praising this kid's ninjutsu ability when suddenly he saw Naruto flashing through hand seals quickly, Futon to Tapa no Jutsu, Wind style. Great breakthrough jutsu. Before sending a huge gust of wind towards the opponent, catching him off guard since the wind was far stronger than it should be. Needing to set his foot on the ground, Aoi hardened his body using earth chakra, managing to hold himself until the wind stopped. Yamato for his part was seeing this new Naruto and was dumbstruck. This guy was holding himself against an S-ranked missing nin, even though the fight was just to measure power than anything. Aoi for his part wanted to step up a notch and started attacking Naruto. He sped up and went behind Naruto, surprising him, leaving him no option but to use Shunshin and get the hell out of there. Making 20 cage bunshins for cover, Naruto used them as cover to make his ultimate technique. While Aoi was having his way with the Bunshins, Naruto and another Bunshin were making the Futenrasen Shuriken no Jutsu. When Aoi saw the technique, he was in fact impressed with such a technique. It was hard to describe it looked like a wind shuriken spinning madly. It looked like a chainsaw. Anything that went close to it seemed to slice right through it. Wanting to face the technique, Aoi charged head-on, and when Naruto charged with it, Aoi evaded jumping high into the air, witnessing the destruction of Naruto's technique with gusto. This kid sure is something. Naruto for his part cursed the man for getting out at the last minute, though he was grinning like a maniac since he got to test his new technique. Because of the fact that Aoi was on the air, he couldn't stop falling right to where Naruto intended to create the trap. Going through a high sequence of hand seals, which was strangely familiar to Aoi since he was an Iwa shinobi, he heard Naruto screaming his technique and slamming his hand on the ground, Doten Supeiku Uchi no Jutsu, Earth style. Spike Pit Jutsu. Upon seeing the spike pit, Aoi cursed the kid. If he were to keep falling, he would fall on the spikes, killing him instantly. Man, I never knew such a technique, you've convinced me kid. Hardening his body with all his chakra, Aoi landed on the spikes, breaking them upon impact and then jumping straight in front of Naruto, staring at the Anbu for a second. Kid, take off your mask, I want to see the face of the man who just beat me in combat. Said Aoi, shocking everyone since he was out of chakra since all was used to avoid death. I have no reason to keep it anymore, you see I'm not actually Anbu material yet, but I'm getting there I guess said Naruto as he took off his mask, making Aoi piss himself because of it. Yellow Flash is alive, it's no wonder why I lost to him. I thought you were killed Yellow Flash, what happened? Asked Aoi to which Naruto was wondering what the hell he was talking about and for the team of Anbus to wide in shock once again from actually seeing that Naruto looked a lot like Minato. Yellow Flash. I'm not the Yondaime Hokage, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, Aoi-san. Now, what's your answer? Did my abilities showed enough for you? Asked Naruto, dismissing the thought of being confused with Yondaime Hokage, but he made a mental note to ask either Kakashi or Tsunade about that, seeing that I would tend to recognize their worst enemy. Yeah kid, you are indeed strong, I'll come with you, but with one condition, though. The last technique I've never seen it before. What is it? Asked Aoi as he moved together with the Anbu team forward Konoha. That's my new jutsu named Doten Supeiku Uchi no Jutsu, Earth style. Spike Pit Jutsu. I've just created it. Said Naruto as he turned to talk to the new ally. Yamato for his part thought about sending a message to Tsunade warning her of Naruto wanting to know about Aoi mistaking him for Namikaze Minato. Scribing quickly and sending a messenger hawk towards the Hokage's tower. At Tsunade's office. Tsunade was looking through the window wondering about Naruto's well-being when Shizune came rushing with news from Yamato. Ripping the note from Shizune's hands, Tsunade turned to read it. Tsunade-sama, you'll be pleased to hear that Naruto managed to convince Aoi to come to Konoha with us. But, I believe there are two reasons for concern. First of all, Aoi wants to collect a debt that he has with you Hokage-sama, while reading Tsunade flinched, cursing the man from remembering. But the second news will be most troubling, Aoi after seeing Naruto's face, mistook him for the Yondaime and Naruto became suspicious. I believe he'll want to know why he was mistaken with the Yellow Flash of Konoha. We should be arriving tomorrow afternoon. Until then, Yamato. Damn it, Naruto. I didn't want for you to know it yet, but it seems that we don't have a choice. Shizune, tell Kakashi to arrive here tomorrow morning, Jiraiya, Iruka and Anko should be here as well. Contact them and tell them we have a situation pertaining Naruto's blood relatives. After an apprehensive nod from Shizune, Tsunade cursed herself from being the one to deliver such news to him. Well, at least I'm not taking the blame alone. Chapter 10 Heritage. On the way back to Konoha, the Anbus and Konoha's newest citizen were taking their time through walking. Aoi and Naruto were talking about Naruto's new jutsu and the theory behind it. Aoi was surprised to see this kid was able to mix two Doten jutsus and be able to manipulate them accordingly to what the technique entailed. Also Aoi was suspicious of the blonde's looks. He could have sworn the Yellow Flash was back from the dead when Naruto took off his Anbu mask. Aoi was no stranger to Konoha's history, and he knew that the Yondaime of Konohagakure Namikaze Minato died 16 years ago, defeating the nine-tailed demon fox Kyuubi no Yoko. Yet this kid looked so much like him that Aoi thought that he would finally get to see the Hiraishin no Jutsu that made the fourth Hokage famous over all the shinobi villages and even places that didn't house any ninjas. Naruto for his part got to know a little bit of the man's life so far. Lost his family to a bunch of Suna missing nins 3 years ago and got framed by Iwa for trying to assassinate the Tsuchikage while on his sleep. According to Aoi, he was present at the house only to inform the Cage of a delicate S-ranked mission where 2 of his teammates were killed. He saw the killer and assaulted him. The man escaped and Aoi was found inside by some Anbus with a weapon of murder on his hands. As the conversation between the two ended, silence took over and the group just walked straight to Konoha without muttering even a single word to each other. However, Naruto, behind his mask, was displaying a peculiar smirk on his face. One that meant the possibility of new jutsus or even the creation of a new jutsu, since with Aoi, the possibilities were endless. Naruto knew, though, that the man wanted to rest his old and retired body, and maybe he wouldn't even consider teaching anything or even passing on his knowledge, so he wouldn't push his luck more than a simple yes or no question. At Tsunade's office. In the Hokage's office, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Iruka and Anko were having a heated discussion about how to break the news of his heritage to the boy. It was common knowledge by everyone how much Naruto saw the Yondaime as a target to overcome in terms of strength and ninja arts, and the fact that the man wasn't only his father, but also the one who happened to seal the nine-tailed demon inside Naruto. None of them knew how Naruto would react to the news. Jiraiya and Tsunade were hoping that the blonde would forget about asking, not because they didn't want to tell him the truth. They wished the boy had at least become Jounin before brining such bomb. Kakashi, Iruka and Anko were dead silent, just seeing the two Sanin's discussion about how to tell him his heritage. But inside, Kakashi was thinking about what would be the repercussions concerning his teacher-student relationship he had with Naruto, and now the partnership in missions. The silver-haired Jounin was afraid that Naruto would think less of him from keeping such information from him, but he made an oath of silence about it, and there was nothing he could do now. Iruka for his part was thinking more on the lines of telling him the truth and then see the consequences, but then he feared of the living inside the blonde. Knowing that the beast's chakra becomes active when Naruto suffers negative emotions, Naruto could very well lose his control over the beast. Now Anko was a different thing entirely. Knowing Naruto's heritage, something she smacked her head from not associating the fourth Hokage with her lover, hence the face that the two looked identical, well, except for the whisker marks which to Anko those only made him look even hotter than before. Now regarding to Hole telling him that his father was the one who sealed the damn kitsune inside of him and made his life a living hell, certainly would unravel bad outcomes if Naruto was to become emotionally unstable, but she believed that her boyfriend would overcome this situation just like he did with every obstacle that appeared on his way. Still she knew that such news would be hard to take it in all at once. So, we all agree to tell Naruto of his heritage when he arrives, and since all of you knows him and keep him in high regards, I believe it's vital that everyone should be here to tell him. With us here, maybe he'd be more at ease and be able to cope with the news and the reason why we kept such personal information from him for this long," said Tsunade, getting nods from everyone present. "I agree. Iruka and Kakashi are like brothers to him and Anko well. Hehe," said Jiraiya, earning angry looks from Anko, who muttered promised of low death like poison circulating his veins by the end of the day, to which made Jiraiya shivered, since he knew the girl would do it in a heartbeat. While not as blunt as Tsunade's punches, Anko's threats managed to tell the same message to the perverted excuse of a Sannin. "Anko, as much as I'd like to see such a threat, we need him to break the news for Naruto," said Tsunade, to which Jiraiya screamed at her. "What, why me, Tsunade Haim? Can't Anko say it while you know?" Hehe, said Jiraiya, giggling like a maniac from the prospect of his new book when his ninja senses caught a glimpse of a viper appearing in front of a wide-grinned Anko, who happened to be enjoying the sensation of seeing a helpless perverted being attacked viciously by the viper and then for the bite. "Say one more word about this, Jiraiya-sama, and I'll make sure this little friend of mine will be paying you a visit," said Anko as the viper hissed its tongue in defiance, since that meant it would not has his prey today. With Naruto only miles from Konoha, the Anbu group and the new Konoha citizen could already see the village's outskirts. Aoi was already imagining a little cottage for him with enough space for him to just rest until his mind and heart healed from losing his family. Aoi, even though was an Iwa shinobi, grew differently from his peers. Never letting hate from the last shinobi war take over, Aoi was one of few in Iwa that didn't think badly of Konoha because of one man. Naruto for his part was evaluating how it would be to become an Anbu now that he was wearing the armor and mask and all, but he knew that this mission was nothing like the usual ones real Anbu partake. He knew from Yamato and Kakashi that Anbu missions are A to S ranked, and as such, to think that they are dangerous would be an understatement. This mission was more diplomatic than anything. Anbu missions are much tougher than this. Not to mention the fact that Aoi-sen was holding back the entire time. Nevertheless, he could very well wipe the floor with me, thought Naruto as he assessed his situation at the moment. Inside of Konoha. Not even bothering to stop, since Anbu masks are their passport, the team simply walked in with their new citizen, who happened to be seizing up the village and its whereabouts when Naruto and Yamato approached. "Aoi-san, it would be preferable if we head for Hokage-sama's office to alert her of our arrival," said Yamato, to which Aoi nodded, while grinning since he would get to charge his debt finally. "Okay, Anbu-san. Let's go then, the quicker we go there, the quicker I can collect my debt." But that Naruto, Yamato and Aoi initiated their walk towards the Hokage's office. Because of the fact that Yamato and Naruto were still with their masks on, some of the villagers stared at the man being escorted by two Anbu shinobis with slight fear, since they thought Aoi was some sort of criminal that was caught. Some shinobis recognized the man from the bingo book and immediately tensed. On the way, Naruto spotted two familiar faces, but since he was wearing the mask, his identity was to remain hidden at least until he removed the mask. Shikamaru and Choji were discussing about what their next mission entailed when their eyes caught sight of the two Anbu members escorting what looked like I was Diamond Fang. Seeing this, Choji tensed as well, but kept his cool towards the supposed enemy. Shikamaru instead was directing his eyes towards the blonde Anbu member, somehow wondering about the man's familiarity. Aoi for his part was gauging Konoha shinobi, only to see most of them tensing just from his presence. Aoi shrugged, seeing that he didn't expect anything less, since he was considered a S-ranked missing nin from Iowa, so Konoha very well should be wary of him. As the two Anbus passed Shikamaru, Naruto turned his head slightly, so to tell to his friend Shikamaru that he was there, to which Shikamaru just smirked and continued walking with Choji in order to meet with Asuma and Ino inside the barbecue place. Inside the barbecue place. Being already there, Asuma and Ino were ordering some barbecue for their team since they knew the meat tank would arrive shortly. Shortly after the orders were made, Shikamaru and Choji arrived and sat on their team's table. "Okay Asuma-sensei, we're all here now, what the mission is about?" asked Ino, to which Asuma just blew some smoke and proceeded to tell about the mission. "It's a B-ranked mission near Suna territory. The Kazekage asked for help concerning some missing nins group that were harassing one of their villages near the border with Fire Country. We are to deal with them. We leave after lunch," said Asuma, getting nods from his team. "So Shikamaru, what do you think I was Diamond Fang was doing here in Konoha?" asked Choji, instantly getting Asuma's attention after hearing "I don't know" response from Shikamaru. "Diamond Fang is here? How? Wait, why are you two so cool about this?" asked Asuma, but was interrupted by Ino, who was curious. "Who is this Diamond Fang?" He was one of the top Anbu captains that ever passed through their ranks. Apparently, the man was framed with the assassination attempt on the Tsuchikage and escaped from the village. He is considered an S-ranked missing nin, according to Iwa's bingo book. "Now, tell me how you guys know he is in Konoha," said Asuma, waiting for answers which came from the lazy bum who was sticking his finger inside his left ear. No need to worry, he was being peacefully escorted by Anbu, however it didn't stop the guy from seizing every ninja that he passed. I was more surprised with who the Anbu was, rather than the fact that the Iwa Fang was here, said Shikamaru, earning glances from his peers who by the look of it weren't totally satisfied by the lazy Chunin's description. "Shika, who was the Anbu and also why you consider his identity interesting?" said Asuma before he heard Shikamaru mutter troublesome and whispered the guy's name close to his sensei's ear so that his team would not find out about. Asuma, after hearing Naruto's name, was surprised to say the least. Man, a couple months ago he passed the Chunin exams and now he is already an Anbu. Damn that kid. "I see, quite interesting indeed Shikamaru. Now, seeing that we all ate, let's head to Sunagakure for further instructions," said Asuma, dismissing some blabbering from Choji and Ino who wanted to know about the Anbu's identity and also one of the first time they heard Shikamaru mutter the word interesting. Tsunade's office. Meanwhile Naruto, Aoi and Yamato entered the Hokage's office only to see a blonde woman sleeping on the counter. Aoi smirked while refraining from a full laughter after seeing the almighty Tsunade sleeping on duty. Yamato shrugged it off, not even bothering to wake her up. Naruto for his part figured he should be the one waking her up. However, since he wasn't keen to be on the receiving end of Tsunade's punches, Naruto made a cage bunshin and ordered him to go there and wake her up. "Hey Tsunade-sama, wake up," said the clone, but to no avail. Then he tried the Naruto way of waking someone up. "Tsunade botchin', wake the hell up," screamed the clone seconds before a direct punch came flying at his face, hitting him. Tsunade, because of the smoke generated from the cage bunshin, woke up mumbling about stupid blondes and Naruto calling her old, but little did she knew that there were others present inside the room, making her smile in embarrassment after seeing Aoi, raising one of his eyebrows while wondering what the hell just happened just now. "Tsunade Haim, sleeping on the job, I see. Tough night?" asked Aoi, though it was a rhetorical question. "My apologies Aoi-san, although I don't feel the need of letting you know about what happened yesterday," said Tsunade before she glanced at Naruto for a second, wondering if the boy would or not request to know about his heritage. However, since Naruto was still wearing a mask, no one could see that he caught Tsunade looking at him after an statement, which made him become suspicious of what happened yesterday. "It's okay, Haim. I'm the one who should be apologizing. I never intended to deprive you of your private moments. I just asked a rhetorical question after seeing the state you are in," Now, apart from the whole mission of getting me here as a citizen, I believe Mr. Yamato here must have told you beforehand about my credit, so I'd like to have it so that I can commence my retirement," said Aoi, making Tsunade sigh and deliver Aoi's money to him. "You know, I kind of figured that since you never came to charge, then I thought you didn't want it anymore," said Tsunade, now reverting to her traveling with Shizune and the times that she escaped from those whom she owed money to by resorting to several evasion and deception techniques. "Well, I would have said something if you didn't flee from Iowa a week before losing to me. And since I was Anbu at the time, it was quite difficult to just hunt you down to charge my debt. I appreciate the payment, Tsunade-sama. Now, I'll search for an apartment complex for me to rest," said Aoi as he moved to leave but stopped when he heard Tsunade's voice calling him. "Wait, Aoi-san. Naruto, take off your mask. Congratulations, mission accomplished. Now, could you show Konoha to Aoi and help him on his search on a place to stay?" said Tsunade, before seeing Naruto left the room in order to take off the Anbu armor and mask and return with his Chunin outfit, making Aoi raise his eyes in surprise of seeing a mere Chunin displaying Jounin's abilities, but he decided not to open his mouth this time. "Now, Aoi-san, the trip on the way back made me hungry, why don't I show you my favorite restaurant in Konoha, and then I can show you around," said Naruto, to which Aoi nodded. "Let's go then." "Good day, Tsunade Haim," Yamato said Aoi before he and Naruto left the office, leaving only Yamato with Tsunade. "So, tell me what's our situation concerning Naruto looking like the yondaime?" asked Tsunade, to which Yamato took off his mask and answered. On the way back, no one mentioned about Naruto's similarities with the yondaime Hokage. Although I believe that Aoi-san will inquire him about it eventually. I thought that he would ask to you, but I guess he chose not to," said Yamato, earning nod from Tsunade, who was thinking about the rather dangerous situation she was in. She knew that Naruto had changed since the failed Uchiha retrieval, but she wasn't sure how he would handle the situation. "Yamato, if we are to tell him of his heritage, your presence here is obligatory. I don't know how well he controls the beast inside of him, and news of his parents can very well disrupt any sort of control he may have regarding QB. You are the only one who can control it," said Tsunade, to which Yamato nodded and continued with a line of thinking. "He sure changed a lot. However, we can never be too careful when the QB is involved. I'll be here when the time is right. Now, is there anything else you need of me, Tsunade-sama?" asked Yamato, to which Tsunade nodded and dismissed him. After Yamato vanished, Tsunade was in deep thought about all this. She was considering holding the secret at least for a few more time until Naruto became a Jounin. At Ichiraku's. Back with Naruto and Aoi, they were currently eating at Ichiraku's, enjoying the taste of noodles immensely. Naruto was surprised to see that the man was also a fan for ramen. After 3 bowls each, Aoi started asking some questions about the village and the blonde in front of him. While some questions were easy to supply, Naruto was stuck with the last one, and probably the most sensitive one. "Tell me, Naruto. While I was walking around the village, I realized that there aren't many blonde hair and blue eyes around, and the only one I knew that has the same hair and eye color as you do is the yondaime Hokage," said Aoi, to which Naruto turned into thinking pose. Naruto once thought about asking the Sandaime Hokage about his parents, but since survival was the main concern, that idea was shot down and never came to his mind anymore. Now that he doesn't need to watch his back anymore, the thought came back in. The yondaime Hokage was and forever will be his role model, but then again, could he has any resemblance to the yondaime? Could it be? Could it be that he not only sealed the damn monster inside of me, but also I'm a relative of his? No, it can't be, can it? I mean, the picture I saw before looked a lot like me, but if I was his son, I'm sure Jiraiya, Tsunade or Kakashi would tell me. I don't know, Aoi-san. I never knew my parents. I was born alone and had to fetch for myself. I was born an orphan," said Naruto, looking down since he remembered what was like when he was leaving at the orphanage. Aoi for his part looked at Naruto's face, only to see sadness all over the place. "This kid is like me, all alone in the world. He lost his parents and I lost my family. Believe me when I say that managing to grow up like you did was a remarkable feat, Naruto. I don't understand how it is to be an orphan, but I understand the pain of losing a family," said Aoi so as to console the boy, using his own example, but Naruto sighed, seeing that very few people in the world understood his condition. "There is also one more thing about my life that troubled and hindered my growth, but that's S-rank secret and I can't tell you. But I can tell you that while you do understand some aspects of life, you couldn't possibly know the other part unless you're hated for something you didn't cause," said Naruto, to which Aoi lifted an eyebrow but decided not to ask since from the looks of Naruto and the fact that it was an S-rank secret, he knew Naruto would not tell him, but didn't prevent him from doing a little research later. Aoi was also known in Iowa from his cunning ability in information gathering. "Okay, Naruto. You can go your way if you want, I'll be looking for an apartment around this area," said Aoi, though getting suspicious looks from Naruto, who somehow thought that if he let an XS rank missing nin wandering around, even if he's now a Konoha citizen, Tsunade wouldn't be too happy about it. It's no problem, Aoi-san. Besides, I don't have anything to do anyway, said Naruto, smiling to Aoi, who also smiled, seeing that Konoha wasn't so stupid as to let a person like him loose inside the village, so he complied with the company and both of them walked towards an apartment complex nearby. At the Dango place. Meanwhile, Kakashi and Jiraiya were having a discussion regarding Naruto. The topic of discussion was Akatsuki's whereabouts and Naruto's abilities. Jiraiya was thrilled and a little surprised of hearing from Kakashi that the blonde could give the lazy Jounin a run for his money. Kakashi told him of how good was Naruto's abilities in ninjutsu as well as kenjutsu, and even though he never fought against him in kenjutsu, his friend Rikamaru told good things about Naruto's abilities with a sword. However, both of them were obliviously concerned with Akatsuki. While Naruto was getting stronger, he still wasn't anywhere near as strong as the Akatsuki members who happened to be close to S-ranked. I've been following their movements with the help of the toads. They've already captured 7-tailed beasts. The only ones missing are of course QB and the 8-tailed demon. According to the toads, Akatsuki seemed to be focusing on the 8-tailed demon for now, but it's safe to say that once they managed to capture it, Naruto would be next. Now, you and I both know that Naruto, even though strong, can take against them. He'll need help. We must watch him so we can protect him, said Jiraiya, to which Kakashi sighed, since this line of thinking was what hindered the boy's growth in the first place. Kakashi concurred with Naruto when he said that people tend to underestimate his abilities up to the point of needing to be saved, and after hearing it from his sensei's mentor, he right there lost a little bit of respect for the Sannin. Jiraiya-sama, even though I concur with the fact that Naruto have to be stronger in order to face Akatsuki, you would do well not to diminish his abilities. Naruto told me about underestimation, and now I concur with him. He is not to be treated as a special person who needed to be looked after anymore. He is a chunin now, almost bearing towards Jounin. He already has the ability of a Jounin, but he lacks experience. Now Jiraiya-sama, as to Akatsuki, it's all up to him, said Kakashi as he lifted from the table, leaving Jiraiya alone thinking. Jiraiya knew that Naruto's abilities improved after seeing his chunin exams, but the fact remained that Akatsuki could very well trap him and capture him if he isn't careful. However, what Kakashi told about Naruto being underestimated felt like a ton of bricks to the old Sannin. He realized that if he considered training him rather than keeping him safe for 2.5 years, Naruto's level could be far greater. Oh Minato, what have I done to your son? With Naruto. After Naruto dropped Aoi at the apartment complex, he went straight towards one training ground. Feeling the need of practicing some kenjutsu, he figured that he could practice some katas. As he arrived at the training ground, he saw that it was empty. Quickly unleashing his katana and a little warming up, Naruto started doing kenjutsu katas with great fluidity, as if the sword was an extension of his body. Slashing millions of imaginary opponents with particular ease, Naruto's dance was remarkable to see. Focusing chakra through his eyes, Naruto's eyes changed to a darker blue with a blue light crossing the pupils, scaring everyone that comes in contact with it. With it, Naruto became more agile, stronger and more ruthless. His killing intent was becoming quite noticeable as he proceeded with his attacks. Meanwhile, random shinobis were appearing because of the sudden killing intent emanated from Naruto as he was practicing with his katana, slicing, cutting, killing all the imaginary opponents that threatened to overcome him. But since Naruto activated his eyes, somehow his thrust for battle improved up to a point that Naruto could only stop after such need was satisfied. After slicing one last imaginary opponent, Naruto threw his sword up as he began to make hand seals, screaming with a voice that could rival QB's. Fuetin Chakra Tatapa, wind style. Enhanced breakthrough jutsu. With that, a huge gust of wind was formed and yanked a few dozen trees along with it. Feeling satisfied, Naruto turned around to leave when he saw some of the people he knew. Kakashi was looking at him, with his hands holding a kunai, getting ready to attack if necessary. Tsunade and Jiraiya were trembling from the sight of such destruction coming from the one whom they thought was the most kind and gentle person ever to exist. Anko was almost on the verge of killing herself after such killing intent from Naruto. All of them were looking at Naruto's new eyes, while trembling with fear at not only the menacing looks of a murderer, but the killing intent alone was tough to bear. Naruto for his part was wondering why all of them were scared of him. Anko was the only one who had the courage to step and confront the now changed Naruto. And Naruto-kun, please stop with what you're doing. Your eyes aren't your real ones. Please change them to your regular beautiful eyes. Please, pledged Anko, to which Naruto was taken aback and realized that he did activated his new eyes and sighed since he felt the need of telling everyone present the truth about his eyes. Anko-chan, everyone. Please don't feel like that about me, said Naruto as he deactivated his eyes and his now ocean blue eyes appeared. Seeing their shoulders relaxing, Naruto continued with the story. A couple of months ago, as I was training my kinjutsu, I unknowingly was focusing chakra through every part of my body, therefore, making my stance more agile, more fierce, more brutal. For a while, though, I was losing control of myself and also somehow having more need to battle some opponent. I was training near a lake, so when I got to see my reflection, my eyes were the same as you now witnessed. And before any of you who may or may not jump to conclusions, this has nothing to do with any possible influences the QB may have on me. This is all me," said Naruto, before seeing all of them looking at him quizzically, to which he sighed, since he knew would be tough explaining to the ones he cared about to watch out for him when in such a state. Also, I wanted to clarify that I only activate this state when there is absolutely no other way of winning or even coming out alive. But hey, between this and resorting to the fox's power, at least this way it's all me," said Naruto, although frightening everyone around even more, and Tsunade made sure to put sense into his head. "That makes it worse, Naruto. With the QB, we kind of figured out your behavior would be, now with you activate your eyes, you become unpredictable, therefore unreliable while on a mission. As of this moment, in no circumstances you are to use this eyes of yours, unless it's life or death situation. Also, I'm not sure if your eye technique is a dijutsu or not, but right now I'm issuing such a jutsu, a kinjutsu. Now, tell me Gaki, what name do you want to give it?" asked Tsunade, now visibly more relaxed and utterly grateful of being on Naruto's side of the battle. She heard about Orochimaru's Kaneshibari, but Naruto's new technique was able to send chills up her spine, as well as the other ones around at the same time. "I never thought of giving it a name, but since you asked, I'm naming Kaioshu Jyaoshi, Assassin Stare," said Naruto, earning nods from the other present since such a name fitted like a glove to what they felt after crossing their eyes with Naruto's. At the name, there were some different reactions concerning the crowd. Tsunade smiled at Naruto's creativity and accurate description of the technique. Kakashi was thinking more in terms of watching his back now that his student could turn psychotic even without relying on the QB's power. Jiraiya shrugged it off, vanishing to go to his research. Anko on the other hand suddenly was filled with an even more ferocious Naruto, and now her hormones were kicking madly once again, making her lick her lips uncontrollably, which gladly only Naruto saw it, who knew exactly what his horny and pleasurable girlfriend. "Okay Naruto, as of right now the Kaioshu Jyaoshi, Assassin Stare, is labeled as a kinjutsu and never is to be used unless it's absolutely necessary. Also, if you were to use it, try to advert looking at Konohanins, try to divert them towards the enemy," said Tsunade, to which Naruto nodded and smiled towards the blonde Hokage, who was now remembering about the big secret they were supposed to tell Naruto about, and if such eyes suddenly appeared because of it. "Jiraiya, come to my office ASAP, I need to speak to you for a moment, come," said Tsunade, to which Jiraiya whined something about losing some research opportunity, making Tsunade angry while grabbing him through his ear and dragging him towards the office, leaving Naruto, Kakashi and Anko at the training ground. Feeling the need to address Naruto, Kakashi turned to speak to the blonde. "Naruto, I want to tell you something. It's about your eyes," said Kakashi, to which Naruto sighed and turned to present a response to the lazy jounin. "Sure, what about it?" asked Naruto, though he was nervous as to what Kakashi appeared to be so concerned about. "Naruto, I won't lie to you. I feel threatened by you. When I saw your eyes, I could actually see you killing me with your katana. I've already seen lots of killing intent auras in my life, but never before I felt like this. I'm sorry, but I can't be around you at the moment," said Kakashi, earning surprised looks from Anko, but surprisingly not from Naruto, whose look was more directed to disappointment. "Kakashi, how can you say something like that?" shouted Anko, but was interrupted with Naruto's voice, which happened to be cold and uncaring. "Kakashi-san, I understand if you don't want to be around with me, but what I don't like and certain wasn't expecting to see from you was the way you looked at me now. The way you looked at me is the same way everyone looked at me who thought I was the fox reincarnated. I expected this from them, but from you, I can tell you with most certainty that if what you said about my technique is true, then what you did already managed to kill me," said Naruto, whispering the last part so that only Kakashi and Anko heard, and then vanished in a puff of smoke, leaving a shocked Anko and a completely lost Kakashi. "Naruto, wait," screamed Anko, but to no avail, since he was already gone. Kakashi for his part was in turmoil right now. He remembered what Naruto did to help him get out of his trance about the past, and how did he thank him by showing the same look of hate and despair of those who thought that the demon came once again to haunt their lives. Sure, Naruto's technique was like a super enhanced version of Orochimaru's binding technique, but that didn't give him the right to give Naruto such treatment. Damn it, I'm a fucking elite jounin for cry out loud, so why would I feel threatened by an ally's technique? Man, how could I be so stupid? I have to find him and apologize. Maybe there's still time, but those eyes of his, I mean, how could he emanate so much killing intent without the fox's aid? It makes me wonder if both QB's and Naruto's killing intent merged. They could kill Jounins just by looking at them. Just like. Meanwhile, Anko was figuring how to teach the silver-haired Jounin a lesson from causing Naruto more grief that he already had through his life. Anko felt disgusted by Kakashi's treason and felt even more disgusted since Kakashi was to Naruto like Kurenai was to her, and to think that she could do this after seeing how much hate Anko had to endure after Orochimaru's betrayal. Therefore she could sympathize with her boyfriend in more ways than anyone at the moment. Damn it, Kakashi. How could you do this? How could you? Screamed Anko, though she could see regret in Kakashi's face as he was looking down ashamed. Anko, I need to talk to him. I need to apologize to him, but I don't know if I can face him again. Every time I look at him now, I think about those eyes and it unnerves me to my very soul. Said Kakashi, while images of Naruto's eyes looking at him with such killing intent that Kakashi found it difficult to bear. Anko for her part was wondering about what Kakashi said, and the truth was that while Naruto's technique was indeed threatening, it wasn't unbreakable. And for an elite Jounin to lose his mind like that made her wonder if Kakashi suffered some trauma or something. Kakashi, when you remember his eyes, you imagine Naruto looking at you or someone else? Asked Anko, to which Kakashi simply responded, confirming that it was Naruto's eyes. Of course, it's Naruto's eyes, you twerp. I'm asking about his tenant. When you see Naruto's eyes, do you see Naruto or do you see QB? Asked Anko, making Kakashi go wide-eyed as he remembered that fateful night 16 years ago. It was the fox. Definitely it was the QB I remember now, Anko. I was ordered to help holding the beast until Minato-sensei did the Fuinjutsu needed to seal the beast. But seconds before sensei managed to seal the beast, it looked directly through my eyes. That was the moment I almost snapped. They said that anyone who came in eye contact with the QB instantly preferred death. I was sent to a temporary coma for 2 weeks after it, therefore the episode was barred inside my mind until now. Kami-sama, I right now compared Naruto to QB. Anko-san, I need to find him. Said Kakashi, to which Anko smiled sadly while using some words. Of course you did. If it's one thing that Naruto knows is how people used to look at him. Now that you came through your senses, I believe that he is on top of his father's head on the Hokage monument. Said Anko before seeing Kakashi vanish and sigh, wishing that her boyfriend could eventually find happiness and peace in life. At Hokage's office. Meanwhile, Tsunade and Jiraiya were having a conversation about Naruto's new ability, and quite frankly, Tsunade was afraid of telling him the news just for the eyes to appear again. Jiraiya for his part was caught wondering about it for a second when suddenly he remembered Kakashi's words, but underestimating Naruto and the price someone pays for doing that. He figured then that Naruto needed to know the truth and keeping it hidden from him would only aggravate even more the situation. Tsunade, we need to tell him. It's his right to know. Said Jiraiya, earning screamed phrases from Tsunade, involving "Are you crazy and how much sake did you drink today? Did you not see those eyes of his, you pervert? You look me in the eyes and tell me that you weren't close to piss yourself," whispered Tsunade, though Jiraiya wouldn't hear. "Don't tell me you're afraid of him, Tsunade. The boy saved this village countless of times. He sees you like family and yet you say that you're afraid of him. Now it's my turn to ask Tsunade, how much sake did you drink? Naruto's technique could very well be our triumph against our most dangerous enemies, and here you are worried that he would flash his eyes again. For all I know, I think he deserves a nickname, so that people come to fear him just like his assassin technique. But regarding his heritage, we must tell him. If I'm right, he won't be mad at the Yondaime from doing this to him. Naruto can be anything but unfair to certain situations. Call him and Kakashi. He must be present to hear this as well," said Jiraiya, displaying a serious visage, therefore raising Tsunade's self-esteem even if a little bit. "Pull yourself together and trust the kid's will. He would never raise a finger against us even if QP took full possession of his body. Now call him or I will. Shizune, call Naruto and Kakashi right now," screamed Tsunade, to which Jiraiya smiled and nodded, but Tsunade wanted some assurance. "Are you sure you want to do this? What if," said Tsunade, but was interrupted by Jiraiya, who started teasing her. "Don't tell me one of the legendary Sannin is scared of a Chunin. That wouldn't fit well with your position as Hokage, now wouldn't it?" said Jiraiya, to which Tsunade looked away, so not to punch Jiraiya's face from such insinuation, also hiding the fact that she was indeed scared of him. With Naruto. True to Anko's idea, Naruto was on top of the Yondaime's head. He didn't know why, but such a place brought him more peace than anywhere within Konoha territory. Naruto was sad that Kakashi thought of Naruto as being the QB reincarnated. Normally, such look didn't unnerve him in the slightest, but when it came from someone Naruto held high regards, it broke his heart to pieces. Kakashi was like an older brother to him, and to see such person afraid of him, it literally felt worse than being pierced by Sasuke's Chidori. As he looked towards the horizon that happened to engulf the entire village and the sun which was settling down right now, Naruto could do nothing but wish for recognition all over again. But for some reason, Naruto felt completely at peace with himself, something that he found particularly strange. All of a sudden, a hand touched his shoulder, but Naruto didn't turn, knowing deep down who was behind him. "What are you doing here?" asked Naruto, to which Kakashi sighed and sat next to him. "Naruto, I came here to apologize for what I've done to you. When I saw your eyes, I remembered an event way back when Kyuubi attacked," said Kakashi as he gave the whole history to Naruto about him crossing eyes with a monster, making Naruto close his eyes. "Kakashi, for some reason, it seems that I can't stay mad at you. I don't know, but there is something about this place that put me at ease with myself. I don't know what it is, but every time I was sad, I came here and from out of nothing, I felt peace," said Naruto, to which Kakashi smiled beneath his mask. "Naruto, of course you're at peace here. You are on top of your father's head." As Kakashi was about to address the boy, a Chunin came and told them that Tsunade-sama needed to speak to both of them. After acknowledging the order, Naruto and Kakashi shunshine to appear inside Tsunade's office. Inside Tsunade's office. When Naruto and Kakashi transported inside Tsunade's office, Jiraiya and Tsunade were facing them quite seriously. Seeing that now was no use turning back, Tsunade started. "Naruto, I called you here in order to give you important information. You see, the Yondaime Hokage risked his life to seal the Kyuubi no Kitsune away, therefore, protecting the village. Also, as you know, he sacrificed your life, since he ended up sealing the beast inside of you. Are you with me so far?" asked Tsunade, though she was now entering dangerous territory and the only way out was to continue further. "Tsunade-sama, why are you telling me this?" asked Naruto, though he managed to see the people in the room lower their heads in shame, which to Naruto could only mean that the answer wouldn't be nice to hear. "Naruto, did you ever wonder why the Yondaime chose you to bear such a burden?" asked Jiraiya, deciding to continue for Tsunade. "Only the fact that I was just born, I don't see what other reason I was picked, but again, why are you telling me this?" asked Naruto, while somehow feeling the need to squeeze his hands tighter, almost to the point of making blood pour out of it. "You see, Naruto, the Yondaime Hokage picked you not only because you're born exactly the time when the Kyuubi attacked, but also because he couldn't ask any other parent to hand their child." So said Jiraiya, but stopped when he felt Naruto's killing intent aura was rising exponentially, and the fact that his eyes were closed was not a very good signal. Suddenly, with a voice peculiar to the Kitsune, Naruto opened his eyes, revealing the Kaioshu Jyaoshi, assassin stare, and said, "Are you telling me that all this time you all knew about who were my parents and never told me?" screamed Naruto with much fury, surprising the people present in the room, who thought he was mad at the Yondaime from doing this to him in the first place. Neither would have thought that the only thing Naruto needed to know was who his parents were. "I grew up without ever knowing if my parents abandoned me or anything. Every time someone looked at me with fear, I wondered if my parents had that same look, hence why they would leave me to fetch for myself," said Naruto, now as sparkling tears fell freely from both of his eyes. "Why didn't anyone told me about this? Do any of you know what it means to grow up alone, never knowing what happened to my parents?" screamed Naruto, now releasing the very same sad aura that he released back at the memorial stone. Meanwhile, Jiraiya, Tsunade and Kakashi were sobbing at seeing and feeling Naruto's suffering as he grew up. None of them could be prepared to know that all Naruto wanted to know was that his parents didn't abandon him. Suddenly, a kick was heard and Tsunade's door was sent flying towards the nearby window. Anko, having been near the vicinity, immediately felt Naruto's aura and ran towards her lover to comfort him. As she saw him convulsing on the ground while sobbing, she felt like her heart was going to explode. Feeling the need of embracing Naruto, Anko enveloped her arms around him, whispering relaxing phrases close to his ear and crying together with him, since she knew quite well what news was brought up. After some time, Naruto calmed down and returned the hug from the one person who would always be there for him. "Anko-chan, I appreciated what you did to me. I know you'll always be there for me, just as I'm always there for you. I love you, Anko," said Naruto, making Anko's ear somehow explode with happiness. She knew she liked Naruto, but to hear such words from him was more than what she needed to be wanted by someone yet again, being that a feeling that she thought was lost forever. For a minute or two, the couple just hugged each other, savoring the moment like it was their last moment together. As Anko broke the hug, she whispered closely through his ear so only he could hear. "I love you too, Naruto." As the couple got up, Tsunade expressed not only from her, but also her predecessor's apology and told him that his parents didn't abandon him. "Naruto, your father Namikaze Minato was dead because of the Shiki Fuin, and your mother Uzumaki Kushina was killed after delivering you. This is the letter that your parents wrote for you," said Tsunade as she delivered the scroll to Naruto. "Naruto, in case you're reading this, then it means I'm no longer alive. Right now, I'm out to fight the Biju named Kyuubi no Yoko, who right now is threatening the well-being of the village I swore to protect with my life." I can't tell you how much my heart is hurting right now, since not only your mother Uzumaki Kushina died from labor complications, but also the procedure needed for the Biju extraction involved to sacrifice my life and yours in a way. When the procedure is done, I asked my predecessor Sandame Hokage to take care of you since your mother and I won't be around to see you grow into a fine young man. Please Naruto, just know that this was the last possible alternative in order to beat the wild beast, otherwise it would destroy all that we came to build within our hearts, while using the will of fire. And in case you're wondering what the will of fire means, feel free to ask Sarutobi about it, since he was the sole inventor of such term. He would tell you exactly how to protect our family, that is Konoha and its inhabitants. Naruto, in case you're wondering why anyone told you about us until this very moment, was because your father made a lot of enemies during the last Shinobi War, and thus by revealing your identity as my son, Iwa and Kuma would seek vengeance because of what I'd done. Also, along with this letter, came 2 scrolls. One contains the keys to our house and its directions. The other one contains my 2 prize techniques, being the Rasengan and the Haration, along with my notes regarding each one of them. Please use it as means to protect this village that I came to love. Also, in time, find yourself someone for you to spend your whole life together, so to start a family. By raising your family, you'll be fulfilling my last dream, that was to raise and guide the next Namikaze generation, together with my wife, your mother. Please be safe Naruto-kun, and wherever you are, always remember that your mother and I will always be with you. Namikaze Minato. As Naruto read it, the few tears that lasted fell, however a deep smile adjourned through his features, showing that Naruto understood completely what his father wanted for him to do. Meanwhile, Anko finished reading the letter and looked at her lover, well inside, hoping that she would be the one to be with Naruto for the rest of his life. She knew that the future held great things for them, and she felt secured that she could help Naruto rebuild his clan the way it was supposed to be. After, Naruto locked his now ocean blue eyes with Anko's, telling her all that she needed to know. Anko-chan, you and me together, thought Naruto. Of course Naruto-kun, we're together, thought Anko, though answering Naruto's answer almost if they understood each other. After the news and Anko's comfort, Naruto got up, while however, not even looking at the faces of those present. Even though he was slowly digesting the new information, he was still disappointed at those who didn't think he was ready to know of his parents yet. Locking eyes with Anko again, he smiled upon seeing that she was giving that same old smile that filled his heart with joy and peace. However, his thoughts were interrupted when Tsunade popped the question. Naruto, are you alright? Talk to us. Said the Hokage, clearly concerned and suspecting that maybe she was the person to blame for not telling Naruto about his parents. Naruto for his part managed to see the worried look on her face and knew what the old hag was thinking. Even though he did blame her for not telling him, he wasn't blind to the fact that Kakashi, Jiraiya and the Sandane were closer than Tsunade to his parents and yet didn't even bother to tell him their names. Tsunade-sama, I could say I'm okay, but I'd be lying. Even though I'm no longer sad about what happened, does not mean I'm not disappointed. Not only had you Tsunade-sama, but also Jiraiya and Kakashi-sensei held this information from me. Also the fact the last 2 held stronger relationships with my parents hurts even more. This only proves that people tend to underestimate me at everything. Said Naruto, to which everyone in the room looked down in response. None of those present except for Anko was at loss of what to say right now. Kakashi already knew that Naruto would say that, and he also knew Naruto was right. Back at the time of his Genin exam, all Jounins doubted he would even pass the exams, let alone survive until now. Also he was glad to be the one who spread the news of his newest accomplishments as a Chunin to those who thought little of him back then. Naruto, you grew up against everyone's wishes and expectations, and now you managed to change everyone's perception over you. I'm just saddened that I couldn't help you earlier. Tsunade and Jiraiya considered Naruto more as a treasure to be protected than an actual shinobi of Konohagakure, and to say that they were taken aback by the realization was an understatement. Jiraiya was still beating himself up from not even bothering to teach Naruto properly in ninja arts, while instead focusing on wasting 3 years trying to control the power of the 9-tailed demon, only to realize that in the end, that Naruto could only use one of the demon's tails before losing control of his free will. Man, I've messed up, concluded Jiraiya. Now, Tsunade's thoughts were more focused on her consideration of Naruto as family than nothing else. It was undeniable that Tsunade considered him as a little brother, but now she knew that the Naruto she met a long time ago was long gone and that another one appeared. However, she missed the little brat that used to scream all the time and call her Bachan, and to think that he wouldn't call her that way again. No one was able to notice, but every time Naruto addressed her as Hokage-sama or Tsunade-sama, she flinched in worry for the blonde. Naruto-kun, I thought you'd be like Nawaki, but after seeing the man you become, I don't see you as my little brother anymore. Now I don't know if I'm happy that you finally grew up or sad, since I won't get to hear complaints and lack of respect, remarks anymore, thought Tsunade. Naruto for his part was counting the seconds to leave the office and go look for his father's house, and the silence only proved that the people present were in deep thoughts over the harsh words he said to them. He didn't regret any of the words, and he knew that they should be hearing this and stop thinking that he was a little kid which was unable to defend himself. Since this conversation ended a long time ago, there is no reason for me to stay any longer than I have to, said Naruto, but no reply was given since the Hokage was still looking down and Naruto could see a lonely tear dropping from the blonde Sanin's eyes. Seeing that he wouldn't get an express authorization, he turned and left together with Anko, since she wasn't even called in the first place, leaving Kakashi, Jiraiya and Tsunade, who was now in tears. Jiraiya, Kakashi, said Tsunade, barely holding herself anymore, to which the two turned to hear what the Hokage wanted and a little surprised from seeing their Hokage burst in tears like that. What did you do to my little brother? Where is he? He can't be the Naruto we all came to know and love. This one doesn't even see me other than his Hokage. Sobbed Tsunade when Shizune entered the room and wondered why her friend was crying. What is the matter, Hokage-sama? Asked Shizune, to which Tsunade looked at her with teary eyes and tried to open her mouth, but no words would come out. It seemed that Naruto's words made her world fall down again, and suddenly she was now the same woman that was found in Otofukugai by a perverted Sannin and a supposedly obnoxious brat who couldn't stop annoying her. Seeing Shizune's confused face, Jiraiya chose to explain. We told Naruto of his parents and he didn't take it well. He said he was disappointed at all of us from not believing he was capable of knowing of his heritage. After he left, Tsunade began to cry because she realized that the Naruto that she came to know no longer exists, said Jiraiya, to which Shizune sighed and looked at the now brooding Tsunade and instantly became furious. Tsunade, please look at me. Look at me right now, shouted Shizune, gaining the blonde's attention. Answer me this question, what would you do if you were in Naruto's place, huh? How can you be so selfish as to not want him to grow up so that you could always treat him like Nawaki? He speaks the truth, you know. Everyone in this village underestimated him, whether by not believing he would reach this far or whether he would still be among us in case Akatsuki managed to catch him. Said Shizune, but no reply was present since Tsunade still looked down and the other two chose not to say anything. Tsunade, however, was deep in thoughts right now. See, could you please leave me be for a while? I need some time to adjust to this. Said Tsunade, to which the three people nodded and disappeared, leaving Tsunade, which was now looking at the village to which she sworn to Naruto that she would take care of. Now, she thought that Naruto abandoned her and she was all alone yet again. But Naruto. As he walked towards the direction of his father's house, Naruto was looking at the people who passed by him and Anko, only to see that the majority still had that particular look on their faces that expressed their deep hate for what happened 16 years ago. Upon witnessing them, albeit with little to no emotion, since he was used to it, he knew that once words hit the streets that he was the fourth Hokage's son, people would change their faces and start treating him like he was some kind of royalty, just like they treated Sasuke after the Uchiha massacre. However, Naruto did little to show sympathy for Konoha's population for the idea of everyone using him as a scapegoat for what QP caused to them. I have tried to swallow their ignorance for far too long. Let them think ill of me, it's their problem, not mine. Naruto also concluded that he wouldn't use his father's name until he was sure that no one would bluntly treat him better because of it. Looking at Anko, he also knew that she was aware that she knew of his parents before he did. But he didn't blame her simply because it was only recently that she appeared in his life as his girlfriend, therefore shouldn't he held responsible for this. He also knew that he would have her consent regarding the way Konoha's population would start treating him once they find out. Anko for her part was watching her boyfriend with attention and a little worried. It didn't take an expert to see that Naruto was indeed thinking about what happened at the Hokage's office. Naruto, I don't mean to be a bitch here, but where are we going? Asked Anko, not even sure if she was supposed to interrupt the blonde with his mourning for his parents, but patience was something she lacked of on certain occasions, and certainly this one was one of those. Naruto for his part looked at her and smiled. The one place in Konoha I didn't know about. The one place to which belonged to my parents before they died. Said Naruto with certain determination, to which Anko couldn't help but understand his anxiety, since inside the house, it could have memories registered by photographs, letters, things he could remember his father by. So they walked away on relative silence, although no one breaking the smile and eagerness to know what's inside the Namika's residence. On the way, Anko thought of asking Naruto something, but was having second thoughts, since it would involve some personal issues, and maybe he wasn't ready to answer it as of yet. However, she now knew what her boyfriend despised above anything, and that was underestimation of someone's abilities, without justification. Foxy, tell me something. After we visit your parents' house, will you be moving in? Asked Anko, just displaying her curiosity, to which Naruto thought for a while. No. Well, not yet anyway. This house belonged to the Konoha's fourth Hokage. If people were to know about the fact that I was his son, everyone would start treating me differently just because of who my father was. I will only move when people stops treating me as such, said Naruto, to which Anko nodded in recognition, since she also knew that once the news of his parents goes public, everyone would reverence him like it was the fourth himself. Also, I don't intend to change my name yet, said Naruto, now making Anko look surprised and a little taken aback by it. Why not, he was your father after all, scowled Anko, wondering if Naruto was somehow mad with the yondaime for practically being the precursor of Naruto's miserable life growing up. Yes, he was my father. However, as Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sensei said, not only Iwa but also Kumo wouldn't be satisfied with knowing that a relative of the man responsible of many deaths among their shinobis at the Third Great Shinobi War. Being that as it may, they would claim war on us or even claim my head instead of the yondaime's, my father, said Naruto, to which Anko smiled and nodded. Now that you mentioned it, in fact Iwa is still resentful of your father from his Hiraishin and Rasengan techniques, and Kumo as well, since it was aligned with Iwa on the war, said Anko. Other than that, I'm not at least worried that Iwa and Kumo would like to hunt me down. I'm not saying that I'm stronger than any of them, but I'm stronger now than I've been all my life, and I'm pretty sure I can take what they throw at me, just don't involve the village and my precious people, so I'm satisfied. They will insert my photo on the bingo book as a C-ranked shinobi, just to gauge my skills, and then move up to B-ranked. What do you say, Anko-chan? Which level do you think I am right now? Asked Naruto, to which Anko decided to mock the blonde chunin. Well, I would say C-ranked. I don't think you can defeat a jounin, and I'm listed as a A-ranked one. Do you think you could top me in a fight? Asked Anko, now using a tone to which Naruto caught instantly since he knew his girlfriend and also knew that first Anko would openly mock the guy, and then when the guy last expected, she would turn to be. Well, if you want to stay below me this time, I don't mind, Anko-chan. Although I'm quite sure you prefer to be on top, as if our last interaction was any indication, whispered Naruto that last part to Anko, making her smile deviously at him and start imagining dirty stuff to do with him once they spotted somewhere private. At the Namika's residence. When Naruto and Anko arrived, they were flabbergasted at the size of the house, however both of them imagined that living in a tiny place such as theirs did cause that reaction. The house itself was quite pretty with 2 floors and a couple of windows facing the street. When they approached the front door, they found that the door didn't have any visual locks, which could only mean that Naruto's father devised a little secret opening. Well, from what I came to know about the yondaime was that he was a master of seals, maybe there is a seal near here in order to open the door, said Anko, to which Naruto nodded and began to search the door, only to find a little kanji seal practically glued next to the door. Here it is, pointed Naruto, making Anko look at the seal and recognize it instantly. It is a blood seal. Quite ingenious of your father, Naruto, although someone could easily enter this place if somehow he or she could get a hold of Minato's blood, said Anko, to which Naruto nodded in agreement. Next, he figured that since the man was his father, then his blood work as well. So, he dropped some of his and the seal glowed for a second, and then they heard the noise of a door unlocking. Smiling at his girlfriend, they entered the house, however they were beaten by the sudden air that entered the house and filled the place, to which the couple figured that the house was locked for a long time. Quickly, Naruto, as he saw some windows in front of him, summoned some cage bunchins, so to open all the windows and let the sunlight in as well. However, none of the two were prepared when the sunlight entered the house and filled the entire living room with warmth and peace. As the bunchins were dispelled, Naruto was walking through the living room when his eyes landed at a picture of what seemed like a blonde grown-up wearing a jounin vest and the Hokage robe on top of it and an amazingly beautiful red-haired woman, and from Naruto's point of view, he could plainly see that the woman was pregnant. As he closed to see the picture, his heart suddenly filled with warmth and instantly he knew who these people were. A second later, tears fell freely, but those were not tears of sadness, but instead tears of joy at finally meeting his parents. Anko, after seeing her boyfriend's tears while holding a photo, went towards him in order to see what he was looking at. When she approached, realization welled upon her as she saw a photo of the yondaime next to a pregnant Uzumaki Kushina. However, all her preparation as a fierce kunoichi could even prepare her to hear Naruto whispering while crying. This is my first and last photo with my parents, said Naruto before he listened the sound of a single tear that happened to reverberate the entire house as Anko cried for the first time in God knows how long. Even though her life was a living hell thanks to Orochimaru, it only began after he took her as his apprentice. Before that, her life was pretty great. Contrary to Naruto, Anko wasn't born an orphan, so she had parents that looked after her and cared for her. Now seeing Naruto hold this photo, it saddened her greatly that the only photo that Naruto took together with his parents was when he wasn't even born. However, when she looked at his eyes, albeit still crying, was surprised to see that he wasn't sad, quite on the contrary he was happy, and she now understood why. Even though he knew his parents' names, he until this moment had never seen their faces. Your mother was very beautiful, Naruto-kun, said Anko, to which Naruto nodded in agreement and closed his eyes, picturing him playing around with his mother at the garden while his father would watch with a happy and peaceful smile. She was very pretty indeed, and now their faces will be forever in my mind, smiling at me from above. I'll carry on their wish and continue the Namikaze generations, thought Naruto as Anko looked at him with a smile on her face. Anko-chan, it's clear in my head that we're perfect for each other, however I wouldn't dream of imposing this on you. When the time comes, I will ask you to marry me, thought Naruto as he went forward and kissed the woman of his dreams madly. Anko for her part was caught by surprise, nonetheless she let it slide in favor of the idea of making out with her boyfriend, which happens to raise her inside temperature quite a bit because of Naruto's fierce kiss. After they stopped the kiss, they looked at each other, with similar thoughts running through their minds. It was safe to say that both of them would look really tired after it. But Jiraiya and Tsunade. After the news to Naruto, Tsunade and Jiraiya decided to take a walk in order to clear their heads a little. What Naruto told them seriously got into their heads, and realization dwelled on them that maybe they ended up hindering his growth. Tsunade, from thinking that perhaps treating him like her brother Nawaki, ended up thinking that he could get away of trouble easily. Jiraiya for his part was still mumbling about the possibility of seeing Naruto become a ninjutsu specialist if he only had realized that maybe training Naruto as a shinobi other than a Jinchuriki. Jiraiya was amazed by the boy's growth in almost 1 year practically on his own and wondered how much stronger he could have become under Jiraiya's wing. Although Jiraiya wasn't a Kenjutsu user, he could teach the boy the basics, earning him by now a Jounin's ability in the arts, instead maximum high Chunin Kenjutsu capacity. Jiraiya, both of us represents what's left of the Sannin, since Orochimaru has gone rogue on us. How could we underestimate him? How could we underestimate anyone for that matter? Asked Tsunade, not sure of what to do now. I don't know, Tsunade, I feel just as bad as you are. Just imagine in which level the boy would be in now had I trained him for real. Said Jiraiya, to which Tsunade looked at him wondering what he was talking about, since even though he didn't taught much, Naruto's skills improved when he came back, hence what they saw his abilities on his fight against Kakashi with Sakura. Don't be like this, Jiraiya. After all, he improved his stance and knowledge when he came back. It's just that his face and resolve reminds me so much of them that I'm still afraid of sending him on A and S ranked missions, no matter how strong he is right now. I guess in a way no one knew he would get very far in the end, I'm afraid. He was fought against the odds and somehow emerged victorious. I bet everyone in here thought of him as lucky to fight people like Momochi Zabuza, Orochimaru, Akatsuki, and still be able to survive, said Tsunade, making Jiraiya shiver since he was the one amongst these people. It wasn't that he found Naruto to be weak, it was the fact that his enemies were only composed of S-ranked shinobis, foes that even the Sannin couldn't hope to win against. He thought that eventually Itachi would trick him and Kisame would be the one to capture him while he was distracted. He also thought that his blind resolve of returning Sasuke would be his doom because of who was the Uchiha sensei. However, now Naruto was stronger, and although Naruto wasn't even on par with a Jounin, he was sure that in no time, no one would be able to stop him in an all-in fight. Although some of his skills were improved, like Taijutsu and Jinjutsu reconnaissance, Naruto's ninjutsu didn't. For cry's sake, Tsunade, when we returned, the only jutsus Naruto used were the Kage Bunshin, Kuchiyus and Rasengan. But now, he can use up to 3 ninjutsu elements and even managed to do what Minato and I could not. He mixed the Rasengan with Futon ninjutsu, which was already considered as an A-rank technique with only shape manipulation. Only Kami knows what that boy is creating right now. It could very well be the next step of his elemental Rasengan. Said Jiraiya, to which Tsunade looked at him in wonder, since the last time she saw Naruto's jutsu, she thought that the jutsu was finally completed. What do you mean, Jiraiya? His Futon Rasengan was a completed jutsu, wasn't it? Asked Tsunade, making Jiraiya close his eyes in wonderings. No, Tsunade. Although the Futon Rasengan is indeed powerful, I know that he could increase its power. When I saw him using it, there were moments when the blades around the Rasengan were growing in size, but then Naruto stopped and the blades receded to their small size. It wouldn't come as a surprise to me if the final version of his Futon ninjutsu be labeled S-ranked. From the damage the jutsu caused on the enemy's body, not only he shoved the energy ball at him, but also it slashed the enemy's clothes like nothing. Now imagine those blades growing in size and speed, about the same size of a Fuuma shuriken. Now, imagine these same old blades slicing every inch of the enemy's body into nothing. Said Jiraiya, to which Tsunade widened her eyes upon imagining such jutsu. Stop it. Futon jutsus always unnerved me, you know that. That's why I was always afraid of engaging a Suna Jounin. Mumbled Tsunade so as that no one could catch their Hokage, afraid of fighting enemy shinobis. I know what you mean. I was this close of losing an arm on a mission near the Wind Country. although it thrills me that Naruto didn't follow Suna's tradition," said Jiraiya, to which Tsunade nodded, knowing what the pervert meant by that. Yes, while in Suna, Futon jutsus were divided in people controlling gusts of wind and others using it for cutting and slashing abilities, and because of the fact that Kunoichis have better chakra control than men, they were able to control the winds, while the more chakra required jutsus which resolved on slicing the cutting were reserved for men, whose chakra capacity was higher. However, Naruto has both of the Futon abilities, giving him an edge against Suna if needed be, said Tsunade, while Jiraiya nodded. Not to mention his secondary Suiton affinity and his proficiency at Doton Ninjutsu, as well as his Kenjutsu. Smiled Jiraiya, to which Tsunade had a realization. She wasn't going to protect him anymore. He is a shinobi for Konohagakure, and as shall, he will be treated the same way as everyone else. Consequences be damned. With Naruto. After his little adventure with Anko, both of them left the compound with the promise of meeting again later. He figured he would go for a training ground and just slash at imaginary opponents with his katana so as to practice some Kenjutsu katas. Although since he was not in a hurry, he quietly walked towards the nearby training ground while seeing Konoha's population for any sign of spread information about his parents. Upon focusing on some faces, he was actually content to see the people's stares towards him, as thinking that he was the reason for the misery 16 years ago. While Naruto didn't care anymore about the stares, he actually wished that people didn't stop treating him like this when his secret became public. It was when he was passing along a drugstore when he saw a familiar face stepping out of said store. It was the ex-Iwa Nin, now Konoha's citizen, just trying to get his long-lasting retirement from ninja duty. Naruto knew that the man managed to buy an apartment and was now relaxing near of the training grounds near a lake. The man, upon seeing Naruto, waved with a grin, to which Naruto returned the greeting. "Good afternoon, Aoi-san. How has Konoha been treating you these days?" asked Naruto, to which Aoi just breathed calmly and smiled towards the blonde. "Peaceful is the only word I can describe. Actually, I was on my way to the lake, want to join me?" "Sure, I was going to train a little bit, might as well train there, right?" said Naruto, to which Aoi suddenly felt nostalgic. "Ah, training. Can't say I don't miss the rush back when I was your age. Although when we fought that day, why did you hold back, boy? I mean, not that I wasn't holding back, but I would think that you would strike me with the intent to kill," said Aoi, to which Naruto smiled and remembered the guy's history and his choice that day. "It was not that I was holding back. I just didn't attack with physical attacks, just ninjutsu. However, my mission wasn't to kill you, no. I was sent to see if you'd be willing to come with us," said Naruto, to which Aoi nodded and appreciated for doing this to him. While they were walking peacefully, Aoi looked at the blonde and wondered why he didn't feel threatened of this boy who looked like Iwa's most terrible nightmare. Right now, looking at Naruto, it was like looking at Minato, well, except the whisker marks and the different vest color, he could say that both were alike. "Tell me, boy. Why do you train so hard?" "In my experience, I'd say that you are as strong as a jounin right now," asked Aoi, to which Naruto looked down this time and turned to answer. "I've told you the official reason of me not attacking you, Aoi-san, but I didn't tell you my personal reasons. I wanted to measure my capacity against an S-rank shinobi, simply because all my enemies are close if not higher than that level. Because of my condition, as I'm sure you know, there is a group of S-ranked missing nins trying to capture me, and although they kind of stopped looking, doesn't mean that they won't give up trying to capture me. Therefore, I need to stay strong, so not only to protect myself, but others around me as well," said Naruto, to which Aoi sighed once again after remembering himself constantly facing powerful opponents and defeating them. "Naruto, I can't say that I understand fully, since I'm not like you. However, we can share histories about facing tough opponents, since when I was in Anbu, tough opponents appeared every day," began Aoi, and Naruto turned to listen the old man's fights throughout his career. At the training ground. Upon arrival, Naruto suddenly understood why the man always came here. The sight of the lake being illuminated by the sun like that while surrounded by trees made him feel at peace with himself, and Naruto didn't have to turn to Aoi to see that the man was already lying down below a tall tree and simply relax. Shrugging it off, Naruto summoned his katana and began to quickly slash through the air opponents. However, he wasn't only training his Kenjutsu, but rather a new supplementary Futon technique he has been wondering about. Naruto once thought about using Futon chakra in order to propel him to different directions, and by using this, he could dodge the attacks more quickly or even dash in order to surprise the opponent. After he stopped slicing, he placed his katana over his head with the intention of making a vertical slash, slicing the opponent in half. As he charged, he focused Futon chakra through the Tenketsus localized on his back and exhaled it, propelling him forward a lot faster than normal. Aoi for his part was analyzing Naruto's katana stances and smiled at the boy's dedication towards his somewhat lost arts in the shinobi world. Aoi knew that any ninja wouldn't even think of using a katana since it was too large and heavy, therefore hindering the shinobi's agility, but when he saw Naruto moving with his katana, it was clearly to say that the sword's weight wasn't a problem for the blonde. However, when he managed to see Futon chakra being used in order to propel the boy forward, he smiled at the useful technique. "Interesting jutsu you got there, boy. What do you call it?" asked Aoi, to which Naruto, while still smiling from the technique, answered. "I just invented. It's a supplementary Futon jutsu used for quick dashes, serving not only for attack but for evasive maneuvers as well. I think I'll call Futon Bakushin, wind style. Dash jutsu," said Naruto, to which Aoi smiled and vowed his opinion. "Quite interesting, indeed. If you manage to use it on all directions, your Kenjutsu style can be improved. However, I quite taken aback by the creativity, first that Doton jutsu you used on me and then this. I didn't picture you as a jutsu maker," said Aoi, to which Naruto grinned. "I just began creating. So far I have some ideas concerning the areas of proficiency, Futon, Doton and Suiton, being Futon and Suiton my chakra affinity," said Naruto. "Well, keep on with your training. Don't let this old man get in your way," then said Aoi, before seeing Naruto speed towards the lake and stand on top of the water. After that, Naruto summoned 10 clones, amazing Aoi because of the boy's chakra capacity, and all charging against him while he was defending himself with a katana. However, even though Aoi was retired, his senses were still intact, and being a great tracker, he could feel a person a mile away. "I don't know who you are, but spying on an old man isn't going to help you," said Aoi, before he saw a person with spiked silver hair wearing a jounin vest. "Ah, Kakashi-san, how nice of you to take your time to visit," said Aoi, making Kakashi growl at the man who happened to be the one who caused him quite a bit of trouble back on his Anbu days, resulting in the death of one of his Anbu teammates. "You have quite a nerve to simply walk in here, Aoi. Try convincing me why I should let you live for what you did to Kaido," growled Kakashi, releasing his killing intent, but to no avail since the man didn't even blink. "I'm sorry about that, kid, Kakashi-san. But your team got in the way of Iwa's affairs back then. You'd do the same if the situation was the opposite. Furthermore, you can't attack me since I'm now Konoha's citizen," said Aoi, to which Kakashi dropped his killing intent and asked what the hell was this man talking. "Surprised, aren't you? I know. You can thank that kid over there at the lake," said Aoi as he pointed over to Naruto's direction, making Kakashi sigh since he forgot he came here to spy on Naruto when he found Aoi just lying down. Quite an interesting fellow this Naruto, don't you think? Also very creative as well, just like his father was, I'm afraid, said Aoi, to which Kakashi flinched at the man's realization. "Don't be afraid, Kakashi-san, the resemblances are infinite. The boy is Minato with a chunin vest and whisker marks, it's undeniable." Kakashi for his part focused on the real Naruto, who was looking at his direction since he felt the man's killing intent and wondered what was wrong. Quickly shrugging it off, Naruto dismissed the clones and started making hand seals. Suiton Suryuiden no Jutsu water style. Water dragon jutsu. After seeing the perfect execution of the jutsu, Kakashi turned to Aoi to see that the man was smiling. Naruto, huh? Figured. No matter what he does, he ends up turning people. I see, now. He is indeed special, said Kakashi as he saw Naruto's clones attacking the real one who was practicing some kind of evasive Futon technique. Back in my prime, I was always wondering what I'd do when I retired from shinobi duty, and I figured that maybe picking up on an apprentice in order to pass on my style and jutsus too. However, I couldn't find someone worthy of it. After I left, that plan vanished. Now, I'm beginning to realize how ironic the situation is. Naruto is the person I've been looking for my whole life, and I was thinking of training him so that he can overcome his enemies and become even stronger and faster than he already is, said Aoi, to which Kakashi looked at the man with suspicious until realization dwelled upon him and the word irony ended up describing the situation. Now, I know what you meant by irony. Though why him though? Asked Kakashi, to which Aoi closed his eyes while seeing himself in Naruto's shoes. The boy is like me, Kakashi-san. When I was his age, all my opponents were A to S-rank shinobis and kunoichis. He told me about Orochimaru and this secret organization made of S-ranked missing nins. Also, Naruto has great potential on using a katana, something that ninja these days don't even bother anymore. You don't need your Sharingan eye to see Naruto's dedication to become strong not only for himself but for others as well. That's the kind of person I was looking for in order to pass down my knowledge, said Aoi, making Kakashi somewhat smiled at Aoi's description. It'll be hard, you know. Naruto has already developed his Kenjutsu style. I didn't say I would make him learn my style. I've already seen his style, and with time and proper training, he and his sword would be a force to be recognized. Also, I plan to teach some Doton jutsus, as well as help him master his own. Trust me, Kakashi-san, when I'm done with the boy, he will definitely succeed in whatever he sets his mind to, and said Aoi, but stopped when he felt very strong presence of Futon chakra and looked towards the source, only to see Naruto going through hand seals and scream, "Futon Suidu no Tatsumaki, wind style. Tornado tunnel jutsu," screamed Naruto before what appeared to be a lying tornado rushing forwards the opponent. Kakashi for his part was surprised by the technique, since he was still due to see it in action. Naruto for his part, after the creation of the technique, focused on the ram seal and started molding chakra in order to control the direction of the tornado tunnel. As he tried to make the tornado turn, he was surprised to see that the plan did work and he could control the tornado. Back to Kakashi, he was wondering where Naruto would come up with jutsus like this and looked at Aoi, whose smile was genuine in excitement over training this boy. Naruto will need all the help he could get in order to fight Akatsuki and Orochimaru. And when the time comes, I'll be standing at his side against them, that's for sure. Said Kakashi before turning and walking away, to which Aoi smiled and turned to see the blonde soon-to-be apprentice. But Tsunade. After her walk with Jiraiya, which resulted in her sending him flying due to him ditching her to go do research, was now back on her table, doing the paperwork. When she picked up a mission request, she saw that it was from one of Fire Country's villages close to Rain Country's border. The mayor of the village requests assistance with dealing with several kidnaps occurring. The request also states that one of the villagers spotted an AIM headband on one of the kidnappers, so that mean either AIM was attacking the Fire Country or missing nins, creating a fuss over things. Tsunade was disgusted by the fact that only women were kidnapped and she damn well know what their objectives were. "Shizune, call Team Guy and Naruto, I have a mission for them," shouted Tsunade, to which Shizune acknowledged and ran to go fetch the requested shinobi. But Naruto. After Naruto managed to create the Futon attack, he was now sitting on top of the water in deep meditation. Because of his Suiton affinity, Naruto could manipulate the water around him. Now, he was meditating in order to get in touch with his second affinity. The exercise consisted on him focusing Suiton chakra and slowly controlling the water flow around him, but also it serves as a good chakra control technique, since he needs to control the flow of chakra, so to keep seated on top of the water. However, because of a sudden presence approaching, he opened his eyes, waiting for this person to appear. True to his senses, Neji landed in front of Naruto only to see Naruto sitting on water. "Naruto, we have a mission. Let's report to the Hokage," said Neji, to which Naruto stood and acknowledged the order. "Right behind you," Neji said Naruto, before the two vanished and headed towards the Hokage's office, leaving Aoi there to relax, kind of disappointed that he forgot to say the news to Naruto, but since the boy had a mission, he could always wait for his return. Inside Tsunade's office. And nothing short of amazing, Team Guy and Naruto arrived the same time in order to report for the mission. "I have an A-rank mission for you. Couple minutes ago, I received a mission request from a village close to the border between Fire and Rain Country. It seems that have been some kidnapping occurring there and the village suspects that AIM shinobis are involved. You are to be sent there for two objectives. First, reconnaissance. You need to investigate the reason behind the kidnappings and also locate the enemy's hideouts, where are they taking them and why. Second objective is teaching the kidnappers a lesson. However, make sure you stop this kidnapping to continue. Neji, you are the leader of this mission," dismissed said Tsunade, before seeing all four shining away and Shizune entering the office. "Tsunade-sama, tell me, why did you send Naruto on this mission? He doesn't have information gathering skills," asked Shizune, to which Tsunade closed her eyes in deep thinking. "Jiraiya once told me that on their trip they encountered some missing nins raping women." Needless to say, Naruto was disgusted by these actions. According to Jiraiya, that day was when he was more afraid of the blonde than when he was possessed by the QB, said Tsunade, making Shizune flinch at the notion of a person causing more fear than a demon. "What happened?" asked Shizune. "Jiraiya didn't tell me details, but he told me that Naruto killed all 10 of them without even thinking about it. He even slammed the Rasengan on one of them and blood spilled everywhere. After that, Jiraiya saw a bloody Naruto walking away and all of the women appalled and terrorized by the viciousness of the kills. This mission is the same, but I hope that Naruto can be more controlled. Now that he discovered the Kyoshu Jyoshi, assassin stare, he wouldn't need to kill any of them. That eye made me want to escape and never looking back. I still wonder why he put the name though. It seemed like he wanted to be praised as a trained assassin." Wondered Tsunade out loud, to which Shizune turned to speak. "What is this technique, Tsunade-sama?" When Naruto focuses his killing intent, his eyes transforms into one of a murderer. Just by looking at it, makes you want to escape from being killed by him. His eye color darkens and a sharpened light blade appears crossing his pupils. I still don't know if Naruto managed to create a new Dijutsu or not, but I can tell is quite deadly. I wonder when he will be able to use in on that snake or even the Akatsuki, only to see their reactions. Said Tsunade, to which Shizune started to imagine Naruto's eyes as Tsunade described, and the result was instant. Inside her mind, only his eyes and eyebrows appeared, but the image alone sent shivers up her spine as well. Shizune wasn't trained as a field medic nin, so she wasn't accustomed with killing intense aura. But Team Guy. Well, on their way to their destination, Team Guy and Naruto were traveling at a considerable speed in order to arrive by this time tomorrow. On the way, Lee and Tenten were caught staring at Naruto, trying to understand what they are seeing. Both of them knew that Naruto changed his behavior somehow, and upon looking at his reserved behavior, couldn't help but wonder about the sudden change of behavior. Neji for his part, even though collected on his own, already noticed the difference on his last mission with Kakashi and Naruto, so he decided to keep quiet about it. But Tenten and Lee couldn't help but keep staring at them, which unnerved Naruto a little bit. "Is there something you wish to tell me?" asked Naruto, catching both by surprise, who at now wasn't even aware that they were openly staring at him since the mission started. Lee for his part couldn't see the flames of youth burning inside of him, quite differently from before. Tenten was more of wanting to know the real Naruto, since the only knowledge she had of the blonde was from stories told by Neji and others. However, she was confused since from what she heard about him was completely different from what he is behaving right now. "Ah no, excuse me Naruto. I was wondering about how you are reserved and collected right now, is there something wrong?" asked Tenten, not sure of what to make this, since she doesn't know how he would react. "Nothing wrong, Tenten-san. Why do you ask?" asked Naruto, now suspicious of the girl. Naruto somehow knew that Lee and Tenten would be staring at him, simply because of the way Ino behaved upon looking at him, but since he rarely spoke to Tenten, he didn't know whether she thought ill of him or not. "Nothing, it's just that from what I heard about you, I'd think that you're different," said Tenten, to which Naruto smiled since the girl's attitude was more out of curiosity. "Well, call that a realization on my part if you will. Over time, I realized that I needed to change if I wanted for my dream to come true. After I returned from my training trip, I made up my mind to start training hard with minimal time for resting. As to my loud behavior, as I guessed you heard about, that's changed now," said Naruto, to which Tenten smiled and nodded, being satisfied with the answers. Lee, however, chose to enter the conversation. "Yosh, Naruto-kun's fire of youth burns with intense," shouted Lee, with a huge smile, to which Naruto turned from Tenten and looked at Lee. "Did you say something, Lee?" asked Naruto, earning looks of disbelief from Neji, a wide-eyed Lee and a giggling Tenten who got a little deja vu of two jounins having the same conversation. After that, the group pretty much stopped talking until Neji signaled them to stop for the day. When they set their feet on the ground, each one started to gather a tent. Naruto went to fetch some water, while Neji and Lee went to pick some wood for the fire. Tenten stayed to arrange the tent. When everyone returned, Tenten did a little sequence of hand seals and exhaled a thin layer of fire in order to ignite the fire for the team. Seeing this, Naruto was impressed that along the rookies, at least another one uses elemental ninjutsu. Actually, Naruto was appalled by the fact that no one even bothered to learn elemental ninjutsu, well, except for Lee, who couldn't use chakra, but the rest of them just used their family techniques and nothing else. Thinking of something else to do, Naruto summoned his katana and started to clean the sword with a smile on his face. He came to realize just what every kenjutsu user realized, that eventually one grow accustomed and attached to their swords. Tenten, upon seeing the sword, smiled in delight over the prospect of another kenjutsu sir among the rookies. "Naruto-san, I didn't know you had a katana, can I see it?" asked Tenten, to which Naruto nodded and handed the blade. "Sure, Tenten-san, here you go," said Naruto. After a few tests, Tenten was amazed by the blade's forging, well balanced, albeit a little heavy, but since it was a katana, she shrugged it off since katanas are much heavier than the katana she normally uses. "This sword is excellent, but why would you pick a katana? A ninja loses agility when using a katana," asked Tenten, not knowing why Naruto would choose a heavier sword. Naruto for his part smiled since some have already asked this question. "It's quite simple, Tenten-san. My style makes up for the momentary lack of speed. Also, the weight of the sword serves as training for stamina as well," explained Naruto. Neji and Lee, for instance, chose to just watch the conversation since they were also wondering about Naruto's katana. Neji, however, was trying to figure out Naruto's shinobi style of fighting since he early thought that he was a ninjutsu specialist, but now that he showed the katana, Neji couldn't figure out anymore. "Naruto, I was wondering something," said Neji, to which Naruto turned to the pale-eyed jounin. "What is it?" asked Naruto. "Early I figured that you were a ninjutsu specialist, but now you tell us that kenjutsu is one of your abilities as well. Each of us have a style that defines our way of fighting. What is yours?" asked Neji, to which Naruto answered instantly. "Well, Neji. I have abilities in both ninja arts. As you can see with Yaut Byakugan, I have 2 ninjutsu affinities, and also I had studied kenjutsu under the guidance of a friend of Kakashi-sensei. Therefore, my style is using kenjutsu for close ranged and ninjutsu for mid to long range. I would say, then, that I'm an all-around ninja," said Naruto, to which Neji scowled mentally from not believing that said shinobi even existed. "Sorry Naruto, but I don't believe in all-around shinobi. You can't be good in everything. I for one, am a close-range fighter, therefore my weakness is against long-range types." "The way you're saying is like you have no weakness at all," said Neji, making Naruto look at him like he was born in another world. "Wow, Neji, where did that whole fate story of yours that the Hyugas are the strongest shinobis? Or is just you that happen to acknowledge your clan's weakness," said Naruto, earning a little growling from the pale-eyed shinobi, however to no avail since Naruto didn't even seem to be fazed by it and continued talking. "I'm not saying I don't have weaknesses, Neji. For instance, Jinjutsu is one of them. I don't have the ability to sense the making of a Jinjutsu, the way I know how to break them is through logical thinking," said Naruto, making Neji relax a little bit but was still resentful of Naruto from diminishing his clan like that. After a while, the group turned to sleep while taking turns for watching over the place. The next day, the group packed their stuff and moved out to their destination. After a few hours of traveling, they arrived at the village which seemed to be deserted somehow. Upon seeing this, Neji activated his Byakugan and was relieved to see that people were inside their respective houses. Quickly signaling for the others to follow him, he searched for the mayor's house to tell them about the mission. However, when the group walked around, it appeared to be only men, children and elders inside the village, which unnerved Naruto a little bit because of an accident that happened during his trip. Deciding to not make conclusions out of the blue, he shrugged it off, hoping that he was wrong. After a while, they managed to find the biggest house on the village and were escorted by a servant to the town mayor. Upon arrival, the group became face to face with the town mayor, who appeared to be a retired samurai because of the katana strapped on his waist. The man also wore an eye patch and a ponytail. Neji, being the Jounin leader, presented himself and his team. "Greetings Mayor Sama, we came from Konoha for assisting your village against the kidnappings. I am Hyuga Neji and these are Tenten, Rock Lee and Uzumaki." Naruto greeted Neji, to which the man started to observe and study the shinobis in front of them. Being a samurai, he didn't like shinobis, since all of them seemed to disregard strength for speed and accuracy. However, his eyes were focused on the blonde who appeared to have a katana strapped on his back. "Tell me something boy. I thought that all ninjas favored smaller blades than a katana. Why do you use one?" asked the samurai, clearly interested in the boy. "If I may sir, well a katana lacks of speed, its strength compensates the situation. Also, I use this special katana here for training purposes since it's heavier than a normal katana," said Naruto, to which the samurai nodded, also satisfied with the answer. "Quite interesting, young man. Now regarding the kidnappings, I believe that you are here to deal with this treat. Our village is scared because of this recent events, they refuse to get out of their homes, afraid that they come again," said the samurai, to which Neji initiated the questionnaire. "We are here to investigate and then take care of this treat if needed be. Now we have to know two things. First of all, who are their target and what do they look like?" asked Neji, to which the samurai nodded and turned to pick a headband that was lying next to a couch. One of the villagers found this headband, which can only mean that they are shinobi and they are targeting the woman population, but for what purpose we don't know yet, said the samurai while showing an aim insignia with a straight cut, showing that they were missing nins from the Rain country. However, everyone turned to see the sudden killing intent leaking from Naruto in waves, scaring the samurai shitless. After a while, Naruto relaxed a bit, relieving the room pressure a little bit. "I apologize for my behavior, it's just that this situation disgusts me," said Naruto, to which the others nodded, already knowing the reason for the kidnappings, except for the samurai who wasn't accustomed to such situations. "Seeing that there was no need for prolonging the stay, we shall begin the investigation. Just one other thing, how often are they coming here?" asked Neji, to which the samurai answered. "Once every 3 days, which means that they will be here in 2 days, since the last one occurred last night," said the samurai, to which Neji nodded and signaled for everyone to move. Once outside, Lee and Tenten inquired Naruto about the sudden killing intent, only for him to explain about the time he and Jiraiya broke an entire kidnapping site that happened to rape the kidnapped. "After I saw a little girl being raped in front of me, I lost control and killed every one of them. After it, even though I saved their lives, the women looked at me with fear for their lives, as if I was the one who kidnapped them. The truth was that I didn't just kill them, no, they were some that couldn't even be recognizable after what I've done," said Naruto, looking down in shame from what he'd done. Neji, Tenten and Lee, after hearing the story, wondered what Naruto thought that made him go berserk after the kidnappers. When the mayor mentioned that part, I relieved what happened that day and got extremely angry, not only because of the rapists, but also of the way I behaved back then. Don't worry, though, I'm not going to jeopardize the mission and attack them head on. You are the leader here, Neji, so I'll obey, said Naruto, to which Neji nodded while Tenten and Lee smiled at the blonde who seemed really preoccupied. Meanwhile in Konoha, At the dango shop, two gorgeous women were there having lunch and talk about what's new in their lives. Anko and Kurenai were considered to be the best of friends up to the fact of each one blackmailing the other constantly, well more like Anko blackmailing Kurenai because of Asuma. However, right now Kurenai had the opportunity of her lifetime since Anko told her about Naruto, not that she didn't already know from seeing him leaving Anko's apartment one time, but she would walk away victorious today. So, tell me Anko. How is Naruto? Asked Kurenai before seeing Anko blush for the first time in her life. Stop it Kurenai-chan, I'm not telling said Anko, blushing even more. Now the reason why a person like her was blushing was because Naruto was different. To Anko, Naruto was more than just a fling. After she saw him crying yesterday, her heart simply froze. Now, she was having even stronger feelings for him, and Kurenai wasn't helping the situation not even a little bit. Come on, Anko-chan, you did this to me almost every time I went out with Asuma-kun, now what don't you tell me? Asked Kurenai, to which Anko looked the other way and whispered. Because maybe I don't know but I think I'm in love with him, whispered Anko hoping for Kurenai not to hear, but to no avail, since from the look of the red-eyed Kunoichi, she heard it loud and clearly. Kurenai for her part was rediscovering her friend right now. Never once did Kurenai imagine Anko saying such a thing. All her life she scared the men around and the ones with the balls to ask her out were sent to the hospital. And now Naruto not only manages to date her, but wins her heart as well. Anko-chan, this is wonderful. Why didn't you tell me sooner, I'd stop with the blackmail. So, tell me about him, why do you think you're in love with the blonde enigma? Asked Kurenai, using that last word, since she was surprised that the blonde could in 1 year not only make a name for himself inside Konoha, but also break Anko's emotional barrier. Well, we kind of went through the same deal and got out okay out of it, we understand each other and help each other a lot. And that body of his is a welcome bonus, Hua mumbled Anko, now remembering having Naruto's body on top of hers while having naughty together, to which Kurenai actually smiled upon meeting the real Anko for the first time in her life. This is the first time I ever see you show a genuine smile on your face, you should show that more often. Said Kurenai, to which Anko smiled once again and nodded. When are you meeting him again? Asked Kurenai before picking up one of the dango sticks and began to eat them. I don't know, he was sent on a A-rank mission with Team Guy yesterday. I don't know when the mission would be over, since it involves reconnaissance. Said Anko, to which Kurenai nodded and smiled at realizing that now Anko also has a boyfriend. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we double date? You and Naruto, me and Asuma, said Kurenai, but instantly regretted since the old Anko appeared and her devious smile appeared. Kurenai-chan, I didn't realize you'd be so forward like that. Whispered Anko, to which Kurenai sighed since Anko reverted to the dark side again. Sorry, Kurenai-chan, old habits dies hard, I guess. A double date sounds like a great idea. I'll ask him when he returns, said Anko, to which Kurenai smiled and nodded in appreciation. Back with Naruto and the mission. A few hours later, Naruto and Team Guy went to gather information about the kidnappers so as to know their whereabouts and numbers. They already know from the one who found the headband that they were missing nins from AIM, but what he told them unnerved Naruto a little bit. According to the man, one of them also used a long black robe with red clouds all over it, which could only mean that Akatsuki was here. Naruto didn't want to face one of them yet. Sure, he was stronger now, but still he couldn't take on an S-rank shinobi all alone, so he would need the help of his team. Neji for his part was trying to use his Byakugan so as to sense other ninjas' presence, but failed miserably. Tenten and Lee were interviewing the remaining women left on the village and were able to see that the kidnappers' real objective was to use the women for rape, which disgusted Tenten a lot. Now, she understood why Naruto behaved back then. Since the group knew that the AIM missing nins would come to kidnap once again tomorrow night. Because of this, Neji thought best to watch the remaining 3 women in order to catch the kidnappers. Unfortunately for Naruto and Neji, the ones they were supposed to protect ended up hitting on them because of their looks, to which Tenten was fuming. Even though she and Neji wasn't actually together, Tenten considered herself and more than just teammates with the Byakugan user. Ah, Neji-kun, Naruto-kun, we're glad that you two are taking good care of us, whispered the females, to which Neji just twitched his lips in annoyance and Naruto just smiled at the girl's attempt of seducing him. Having already been through all paths of seduction courtesy of one purple-haired Takubetsu jounin, Naruto wasn't even fazed by the girl whose face was only 2 inches apart from the blonde. The woman named Higek was amazed at blonde's self-control. Until now no man ever held his own against Higek when she was like this, and the fact that they found the blonde to be hot didn't help her situation. I'm sorry Higek-san, but I don't think my girlfriend would appreciate you seducing me like that. She could be quite vicious, you know. Said Naruto, to which Hikage flinched at the sight of enraged Kunoichi pursuing her from trying to get his way with her boyfriend. She must be a lucky lady then to have someone so handsome and yet so devoted. said Hikage, while at the same time using her hand to caress his cheeks when Naruto used his hand to stop her from continuing. Seeing that she wouldn't be able to get away with a devoted blonde, she stopped trying and showed him her back, trying to use her last ace of spades. As she walked back, she was shaking her hips in a nautical manner, hoping to at least get a little bit out of the blonde. However, when she turned to see if her swinging was successful, only to see that the blonde was now chatting with the Byakugan user. Naruto for his part was amused at the girl's attempt of seducing him, but whatever she tried, Anko did 10 times better. You're quite confident of your self-control, Naruto. I'd think you'd jump on her right now, said Neji, to which Naruto laughed. Nah, compared to Anko-chan, this Hikage character doesn't even compare, said Naruto, to which Neji smiled and sat down to get some sleep since it was Naruto the first one to take watch. Next night. One day later, Neji and the gang were hiding so as to not get detected by the enemy. However, Naruto wouldn't leave the girls alone, so he left 2 cage buncheons inside the house with them, transformed into a lamp and a door. Suddenly, Neji and Naruto felt the presences approaching and ushered the team to stand down and wait for the enemies took the bait. According to Neji, there were 10 shinobis, with at least Jounin in terms of skills, which proved to be difficult, considering that out of the team, only Neji had the abilities of a Jounin, although he was sure that Naruto and Lee could take at least 3 of them each, with Tenten backing both up. After the missing nins caught Hikage, the buncheons were dispelled and all the information transferred to Naruto. What he saw was indeed one with a black robe and red clouds, but he couldn't identify him. Right now, Naruto was aware of Itachi, Kisame, Deidara and Sasori. However, Naruto figured that this guy didn't have the same power as the others. To Naruto, this guy was the equivalent of a rookie Jounin at best, so he was a little relieved. Quickly following the group, Naruto's team followed the missing nins with a safe enough distance so not to be spotted by them. On the way, Neji was looking at them with the Byakugan and was certain that they didn't spot them yet. Once they landed in what appeared to be a camp, Naruto and everyone managed to see the girls captured and gladly the kidnappers sitting at a quite distance away. However, all of them knew that the group would be starting the raping soon. Neji-san, how many are they? I can sense 10, but I'm not sure, said Naruto, to which Neji activated his bloodline and managed to see the enemies. There is one more behind the group of 10. He must be their boss. His chakra coils are more advanced in comparison to the others. Naruto, Lee and Tenten, these guys are Jounin level ninja, so here's what we're going to do. Naruto and Lee will separate their numbers, and then Naruto and Tenten will take 5, while me and Lee will take on the rest. If my guess is correct, the stronger one will watch our abilities, so try taking them out without using your best abilities, and leave that to him. Lee and Naruto, you know what to do, said Neji before seeing Naruto and Lee smile at each other and vanish in less than a second and appeared close to the field, driving their attention. While Lee ran in order to strike them with his Konoha Dai Senpyu, Leaf Great Whirlwind, Naruto quickly went through the hand seals for Futen to Toppa, wind style. Great Breakthrough Jutsu. Out of nowhere, 2 strong gusts of wind sent each of them flying towards opposite directions, giving Neji and Tenten the signal for joining in. When Tenten arrived next to Naruto, she managed to see that Naruto was already with his katana yielded and looking fiercely at the enemies, to which she smiled and summoned 2 Katashas off her own. Let's see who is better, your katana or my Katasha, said Tenten, to which Naruto smiled and nodded. Challenge accepted, smiled Naruto, before both of them attacked the enemies that were with 2 kunes, 1 in each hand. Meanwhile, Neji dropped into his family stance and immediately took care of one of them, sealing 64 of his tenketsus, while Lee did a roundhouse kick, sending another one flying towards the wall, knocking him down, and then throwing a kunai which landed on the guy's throat, killing him instantly. Back to Naruto, he summoned a dozen cage buncheons in order to escort the ladies back to the village, leaving the fighters alone. Since you guys screwed our meals, you won't get out of this alive, said one of them, while making hand seals, then whispered Suten Daibafuku no Jutsu, water style. Grand Waterfall Jutsu. After that, a huge torrent of water was sent towards the Konoha shinobi, who didn't have a choice other than evade the attack. Naruto, taking advantage of the water from the enemy's attack, made some hand seals and screamed Suten Mizutaihu, water style. Water cannon jutsu. After that, a sudden burst of water was sent towards the enemies, managing to strike both of them. With Tenten, she managed to slice her first kill, but one was going to attack her from behind. Luckily, she caught the guy from the corner of her eye and started making hand seals. Kaiten Hauka no Kin, fire style. Fire blaze jutsu. With that, Tenten exhaled a thin layer of fire which upon contact incinerated the man's body down to only ashes. With only 4 remaining, Neji and Lee managed to beat 2 by using their respective taijutsu stances, while Naruto and Tenten managed to take the other 2, with Naruto slashing his sword in a vertical move and Tenten with the Kadashi no Uden, crossing Kadashi technique. The leader, upon seeing his men easily beaten by the Konoha, was now afraid for his life. Damn fools, you're keeping me from entering Akatsuki this way. Now, I have to face Pain-sama without any worthy sacrifice, said the leader, to which Naruto suddenly wondered. Who is this Pain character you talk about? Asked Naruto, to which the leader responded by laughing upon seeing that he didn't know about who Pain was. Ku, you don't know who Pain is. He's everything, he is our god. After he defeated Hanzo-sama, the one to whom your so-called Sannin couldn't even take him together, and he's the leader of our organization called Akatsuki, said the leader, not even knowing that in front of him was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Naruto for his part was through with this annoying organization. Now that you told us what we're looking for, I will be very happy to send you to the other world. Niji, Lee, Tenten, whatever you do, please do not look at my eyes after I said so. Niji, I don't know how this would affect you, so please close your eyes. Said Naruto, to which the group nodded since they came to know about Naruto's supposed jutsu. Now, why don't we get started, shall we? Asked Naruto before his eyes changed into his assassin mode, making the leader flinch at the sudden killing intent. What's happening here? Asked the leader, who couldn't stop shaking at the sight of Naruto approaching with his katana and looking fiercely at him. Right now, the leader was seeing his death by the blonde, and the sheer force of the killing intent was enough for him to piss his pants, had his control was slightly lower than it was. However, he could only watch paralyzed as Naruto stopped a few inches apart from the guy, and with a smooth and clean slash, the man's head was cut from his body. You guys can open your eyes, now. It's done. Said Naruto, sounding like a vicious killer than anything. His sword, for one, was drenched with the man's blood as well as Naruto's face. As he passed by his team, he didn't even turn to acknowledge his presence, instead he just walked away. Back at the village. With all the women safe and the kidnappers killed, the mayor showed his appreciation to Konoha for sending such a competent team and handled the mission payment. The samurai, though, was a little concerned after landing his eyes on Naruto, who by now was looking down in shame from letting his assassin mode take control of his will. Truth be told, Naruto didn't want to kill the bastard, just a few deep cuts so as to serve as one scar, but when he decapitated the leader of the kidnappers, he regretted instantly. At Konoha. The ride home was uneventful. On their first day, Naruto didn't voice anything to the group, staying quiet the entire time. After that, he woke up and was normal again. Upon arriving, Niji presented the papers, and the team was inside the hidden village of the Leaf. Team, let's go to Tsunade-sama's office. We will have to change the mission rank to S ranked, since there were a great number of Jounin level shinobis, even though they didn't have any trouble beating them. Now, because of this mission, Naruto was one step closer to becoming an Anbu, and he was smiling the whole way to the Hokage's office. Once inside, they handled the report and Tsunade congratulated them, however she thought better and decided to keep the A-ranked mission since the enemies wasn't so tough in the end. With the team dismissed, except for Naruto, Tsunade turned to speak when suddenly Jiraiya entered the room and stared at the blonde with a reassuring smile on his face. Naruto, the reason we held you here is because we apologize for not telling you at least a little bit of your family. While I believe that such information is delicate, doesn't mean that at least you should have heard about them. I just wanted to know that we're sorry for what we've done. Said Tsunade, to which Jiraiya nodded and Naruto turned to think. Tsunade-sama, Jiraiya-sama, I'll admit that what you all did was very disappointing to me, however that occurred in the time, therefore I don't have a grudge regarding this anymore, asked Naruto, to which Jiraiya smiled and turned to hear him once more. When I went to my father's house, I managed to see the only picture taken that involved all three of them, seeing that his story was far from ending, he continued. And even though the house is comforting in itself, I still can find a journal or anything that told of my father and mother's life for that matter. Therefore, I would like if possible, if you two would be able to tell me something about him or her, that helps me to get to know them better, said Naruto, earning a deep smile from Jiraiya and a soft one from Tsunade, who ushered him to seat, since it would take a while. Needless to say, Naruto was listening with a smile on his face. This was part 3. Hope you enjoyed all drama, action and romance between Naruto and Anko. I think you guys should hit the bell icon if you don't want to miss the next part. Hope I will get 1K subscribers very soon. Okay, it's time for me to go, see you all in the next part. Sayonara.